I love acting because I'm curious. It allows me to like feed into my curiosity a little bit. I think abstract's a little chaotic. It allows me to make a mess. I really do think that like mistakes turn into something very beautiful. It's unnecessary to think anything silly because look at everything floating around.
Yeah.
It's chaotic.
Yeah.
It's a mess until you can figure out how to organize it.
This week we have Miss Kaleina Cordova.
Hi.
Cheers.
There we go.
Thanks for coming.
Absolutely. This is exciting to be here.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I've been a big fan of yours for a minute.
Yeah, my gosh.
Yeah, I feel like your art's so warm.
Yes.
Not just that. It's just like, some of it makes me think.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, what's the one with the candle?
It says like it's a soul candle.
And then there's like all these different colors and the hands, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like art is meant to be interpreted by like the listener, the viewer, whatever, and regardless of like the intention of like what the artist makes it. Mm-hmm. So I was like, it's really interesting because I was like, why is that hand there? And then also like those different colors of the fumes like glowing away could mean so many different things.
Yeah, it's like really, it's very vibrant, but it's also like, because I painted it on a black canvas, so it kind of like, everything just feels a little more like, maybe it's a little more ominous. Like I've been told so mean? Many, like ominous is like just more, like, I'm going to say it in a sense, like dark and ominous. Like it kind of has this, I actually don't
like
know
mysterious?
The correct.
Is it similar to
It would be closer, yeah. The word would be like leaning towards mysterious, like kind of more the unhinged, like a little more like curious side of stuff, if that makes sense. Like, yeah. So anyway, ominous.
I think it like makes you think. If that's what you're trying to say.
And it would have that element of mystery, and I kind of like painting canvases black because of that. Because then everything also feels more vibrant. And
also, you don't see many like dark canvases in like houses. It's usually like white with like a beach.
But I feel like a dark canvas would look cool in here because of all the wood and like everything.
I mean, most
it's
of my
like
stuff's black.
but you have a lot of like browns. I would say.
Yeah, thank you.
I would say your place looks more like it's like a cream brown.
Cream brown.
Yeah.
Is that warm?
It would be warm.
Okay.
It would be technically warm. This is exactly like my place. I have the wall painted. I painted it in bricks.
Okay.
So
did you paint each brick itself?
Yes, I actually so I stamped it.
It's not like a wallpaper.
No, it's not a wallpaper. So my dad's a production designer.
Okay, that's dope.
And so I grew up like he would design like sets and everything. So he's very like he's also very inventive with his approach to like how to do things.
Sure.
So I had told him I wanted to paint my wall like brick because I love lofts and everything, but I live like down the street. We don't live anywhere near
downtown,
a loft.
Downtown.
I mean downtown, but I don't want to go downtown. Honestly, like I'm good.
You don't want to chill next to the Skid Row?
It's so bad over there now.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
It's crazy. Everyone thinks of LA as like Hollywood and beaches and all this stuff. I'm like, that's
go
like
downtown.
Yeah, it's not that.
It's crazy because pre-COVID, like I was telling you, I used to hop on the metro and go down and like I wandered around everywhere, like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., hop back on the metro. Like I also had a car. Yeah. I don't know why. Like I was just taking the metro. It's convenient and it's awesome.
I've never used it.
You've never used the metro?
No.
It's fun. It's
Is it
like
dope?
It's actually this one's really nice. I can't speak for like all of them, but the station is really cool.
Does it just
really
take
nice.
you downtown straight?
No. It takes you downtown. It opened up to Santa Monica too.
Oh.
It goes above ground in Santa Monica, but no, the metro you can go. Where else can you go? It's like kind of like strays of downtown. Okay. There's like Union Station, but then there's one on like 7th and Grand.
That's a good bar. Have you been to 7th and Grand?
No, but I guess I can get off the metro and go there. This is a commercial for them.
Yep. There's a cigar lounge and everything, guys. Like really good cocktails. Like,
so good. I haven't been there. Where is it?
It's on 7th and Grand.
Is it underground? Is it one of those ones?
No.
Oh, that would be cool.
That would be dope.
I like the speakeasy. That was what I was thinking of.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think LA has too many speakeasies anymore. I think there's a couple downtown.
There's a couple down. If you're gonna go to one, it's gonna be downtown probably.
Yeah. There was one here. I think it was called Red Door in Toluca Lake.
Oh yeah, it was
I've
next to
never been,
Foreman's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you go?
I did go.
Uh-oh.
I did go.
Yeah? What happened there? You gave like an eye.
I just remembered that I did go to Red Door, but I was like, I have memories now of being on the table.
Oh, what were these memories?
I must have got on the table. Very drunk memories.
Okay.
Very, very drunk memories.
Do you think drunk memories are accurate?
I'm just having flashes of what I remember seeing at the Red Door.
What did you see?
And I'm pretty sure we ordered a pizza, but not from the Red Door, from somewhere else, and we brought the pizza into the bar.
Oh. Were they cool with that?
No.
Oh.
No.
What did they do?
I don't know that, but I remember us being not in there for a long time.
Okay.
Probably got thrown out. And I just remember getting on the table. I have no idea what I was doing there, but I remember standing on a table because I remember someone helping me down from it. And
that's a bold move. I don't think I've ever actively just like gone on a table like, this is me.
I guess I do sometimes when I'm drunk.
I feel it's like every like high school girl movie is just like some girl goes on the table and dances, and I feel like
it's like wild. Yeah,
it's wild. I've never seen a guy do that.
I don't think, to be honest, like I don't think I was like wild and dancing on the table. I think I got up on the table as like some kind of bit or something that was like.
Do you do comedy?
No.
Were you trying?
No, but maybe I would like. But that's something more than I would do than like dancing and stuff.
Oh, okay.
I was probably like, hey guys, like listen up. Like said nothing.
That's real.
So I would lean more towards that. But that's all I remember. Anyway, yeah, I had been to the Red Door. I went to the Red Door.
There are some speakeasies, guys, in LA. Go check them out. But the Red Door's not there anymore.
The Red Door, but you know what is the one inside Vitello's?
There's one in Vitello's?
Yeah, it's called.
I'm just gonna check it out. Is it even online?
Yes. Oh, gosh, it's three. It's 3 words.
Okay, we'll look it up later, guys.
We'll find it. But it's inside Vitello's. It's in the back. They just have a back door past the bathrooms, and it's cool. It's like I feel like you would really like it. Actually,
right.
You have to go there next time.
So back to the LA thing. You know how before we were talking about on the podcast, like there's areas of LA that we don't know about, and you could live here for years and not go to Venice.
Yeah.
Or for me, never use the metro. You know, and there's totally different worlds in here that you imagine. Most people's day-to-day is the same route. You know, it's like, I got on the metro every day. I got on the same freeways every day.
Yeah.
I walked the same path every single fucking day, you know? And then and you interact with the same people and you see the same people. And that's why you know people in these areas. And I feel like when you decide, I'm going to today go to Venice, you are transformed into this like different person into this other world of people's day-to-day lives. Yeah. You know, because like it's just their same path most of the week, you know? And then like, what an opportunity to like just do something cool out of it because you're not usually there.
Yeah, it's like, and it makes everything like, it just feels more like this is normal for them, but it's unique for us, and you need that perspective. Like, because you just need to get out of the normal all the time. I feel like it's healthy and best to like not just stay put. So you can go experience like things like very easily. Like it's not like you have to go that far, but it's like going to Venice was a whole different experience from like what I'm used to like living over here.
What was it like?
It was just like, we just had so much fun. It was a great night. I have now a few different groups of friends that live over there, and it just coincidentally, like, these are all friends that I've made this year, and these are like amazing people, like so inspiring, so cool. I'm very grateful to like know them, but it's just wild because they've all like come this year, and they all live in like, it's so far, it feels so far away.
I mean, you can get there in like 25 minutes if
I know.
There's no traffic.
Oh, God. I drove from Santa Monica today. When I was coming back over here, I drove from Santa Monica on 18th Street to here. It was an hour and 16 minutes. It was
That's a
I
lot.
think 15 miles. Like, It's ridiculous. Guys, LA traffic is a real thing.
I kind of like it sometimes.
Terrible. It's You know what's funny?
What do you listen to in the car?
I actually, now that you said that, it's terrible if you're trying to get somewhere. When I was coming today, I was like, I had plenty of time to get here. And I was like, this is like really chill. I was like, you know what? I'm going to call my friend. I haven't called in a long time. 100%. Honestly, sometimes, traffic can actually have its perks.
I catch up with all my friends and all my family every single drive.
Yes, it's the perfect opportunity to call people that you're like, I can't find anything else that I should be doing right now other than calling you.
It's like my mom should probably hear from me sometime.
I should probably do that now.
No, I was like, I got 50 minutes. That is 1 minute for my mom and then 45.
And everyone else. I've been programming now like all the names in my car too, because my Bluetooth, I have an old car.
Okay.
My friends have named her like Old Betsy.
Old Betsy?
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
There's a ring to it.
There's a ring to it.
Yeah, for sure. She's like a milkmaid or something. Like, not like... Yeah, it's Old Betsy coming down the street.
Not milkmaid.
I don't know. She does like, I don't know. She works on it. She's just chugging along, kind of.
Okay, yeah.
That's how she's been described, because there's like
the
smoke that comes out of that. My car's really bad. I just got on her.
Shouts out to Old Betsy.
Old Betsy is so funny. What was I talking about?
You were talking about the music, what you play in your car, and then the Bluetooth.
Oh, my Bluetooth. I still play CDs. I still use CDs, actually.
No, you don't.
I think that CDs, I'm going to throw this out there. I love CDs.
Why do you love CDs?
Exactly. Good question. The only reason is because, like, I don't have to make decisions or choices with anything. I pop in a CD. That is what I'm listening to. You know what I mean? Like, on Spotify, on Apple Music, like, whatever. You have so much in our lives. Like, this is going to go into a bigger thing. But it's like... we have so many options constantly, and it's like, it's overwhelming. And I think it's like, I like put like Spotify on shuffle sometimes, but I'm like, it goes all over the place.
But you also have the option to just fast forward, don't like it, versus a CD. You still,
but if I'm driving, I'm gonna try my best not to be focused on my phone.
Sure.
But I like the CD because you just pop it in. You're like, this is the artist I'm listening to. This is the vibe that I'm listening to. And I'm just going to let it kind of roll from song to song.
What classic CDs do you have still that you just like love listening to? So.
I will always listen to Fleetwood Mac.
Ooh,
I love Fleetwood Mac. I'm very like 70s classic rock. I have the Eagles. Like,
let's go.
The Eagles, Fleetwood Mac. I have so many Bon Jovi albums. I was so into Aerosmith and Bon Jovi in like high school.
Yeah.
And they were...
See, Steven Tyler still looks great.
I don't know if that's true. Bon Jovi still looks great. Steven Tyler's gone different direction. He just doesn't give a fuck.
He's still got some luscious hair.
Yeah, he's still got a lot of hair.
Yeah.
They both have a lot of hair. It's good for them.
Yeah, it's like most men these days are bald.
This is true.
You
know, I heard there was like this thing about like a receding hairline. And like what causes receding hairline?
I'm curious. What is it?
The thing says that for men, it's every time they like do something wrong with a woman, it just goes back a little bit.
I was thinking totally scientific out of this piece of information. And
I like that I led you in that direction.
Me into that direction.
And then I just
you were like, he doesn't know what's coming. I'm gonna wait for it real quick.
Check this out. So anyway, I have no idea how we got here. I'm really not good at podcasts. I'm gonna go all over the place.
The music in the car because of Old Betsy,
Bon Jovi, Fleetwood Mac, the Eagles,
and we're talking about just the traveling in LA. You have a car now.
I have had this car since it came out here, pretty much.
Yeah. So
this has been.
It's cooking.
Yeah, it's like.
Why did you move out to LA?
So I moved out for acting.
Okay.
I had originally like thought about giving myself a year out here to see what I can make happen, which like would be like people taking a gap year and like a year to travel. But I did think I was going to go to college for animation. I wanted to be an animator for Pixar originally.
Okay.
Except in my mind, everything would be like on pencil paper and like creating storyboards and doing stuff like that to like animate the characters. Everything is digital.
Everything's digital these days.
It's all a computer. So like when I was like exploring the options and everything, I saw that I was like, I thought this was what I wanted to do, and it's not. I don't want to be on a computer all day. They don't even sketch.
Do you doodle? Do you doodle?
I love doodling. I love doodling.
Love doodling. My dad was an architect.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he used to like sketch, but it would always be like extra lines, and it would look like Mickey Mouse that was designed as like a housing format. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that's how my dad sketched like Mickey Mouse. I think he was in 2nd grade. Yeah. And like he would do Mickey Mouse on like I think 3, 4, 5, 6 different papers and then like flip it. Okay. You know, and then you would see the animation move. Oh, cool. And that was the only reason why I brought it up. That's I was so like, cool. That is the old school type of animation. Yeah. Like you would literally every single piece would be different by each thing, and you're just like, how can we make this cool piece of art out of just like different photos and stuff like that? And
that's why I thought like then the digital artist would like take care of the rest, and I can be like the base and like the foundation.
And
of,
that
like,
was like totally not it when you got there already.
No, the sketching was even done on like tablets only or on the computer. And I was like, I can't like sketch like this. And like, I was just seeing stuff and it just like, I wasn't feeling it. Yeah. Like when I was there in the space, I was going to go to Flagler College in St. Augustine, Florida.
Okay. I know exactly where that's at.
Yeah. It was cool. It was, you know, they had like a Cordova Street in Flagler.
Did you take a photo with it?
I did. No. Of course I did. Of course I did.
This street is named after me.
And that's pretty much, that was the picture. Yeah. But Cordova Street, and I was like, oh my God, meant to be. Like, what else is there for me in the world? Like, I'm meant to be going to this
walking through St. Augustine and like, hey,
like, Cordova Street.
This is my street, and then move on with your day.
That's how I thought my days would go for 4 years, and they didn't. So, I was also like sold because in Flagler, I did like a little tour of it, and the entrance is like the staircase like that you would see in Harry Potter. It's like just every like enchanted staircase.
Kaleina didn't truly know because she didn't read the books, guys.
Wild, but it's like it's like magical. It's a magical staircase.
I'm joking.
Kaleina didn't read the books. I'm so sorry, everyone. But I love the movies.
I guess you're an actor, so therefore, like, I guess the movies like are it.
Movies are always gonna be. Well, actually, no. Because the reason I wanted to go into acting is because of books. So
now you're proving my point even more.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am. You're correct. It's actually why I love acting. I was very odd in school.
Odd in what way?
Well, I dressed very interesting.
I feel like every kid did though, no?
No, because I went to a public school, except they enforced a dress code. Yeah. And everyone just kind of abided by it. And it was like khaki and like this collared, ugly navy shirt that everyone wore.
Like you had to wear a uniform?
Had to wear a uniform in a public school.
Oh, that's weird.
They enforced the uniform. Okay. You would get like in trouble if you didn't wear it, but technically you can enforce it in a public school. It was Twisted, which is Florida. Okay. And where I grew up.
What part?
Boca.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know where that is. I've only been to like Jacksonville.
There's a lot of different parts of Florida. I should be better when I talk about being from Florida. I know everyone tells me, they're like, dude, maybe you should try like being like, oh, I'm from Florida. But every time I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm from Florida.
There's just so many parts.
There's so many different parts of Florida, but where I grew up was a mix of a lot of things. And anyway, what was I getting at about Florida again?
No, so you just said you were from Florida, but we were getting to the point of like why you came out here for acting.
Oh, for acting. It was books. It was going back to school. Okay. Why I loved acting was because I would read books, like very much like fiction novels primarily, and I would want to be the character. So I would dress like whatever character. Like
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, I can. It's going to be embarrassing. There's this book, I will remember it because it was my favorite book growing up. It was like in 8th grade, I think I read it. It's called Kissed by an Angel.
Okay.
And it's Elizabeth Chandler. Elizabeth Chandler, yeah. Kissed by an Angel by Elizabeth Chandler. That was my favorite book. So it's actually why all my friends would know this. I use like this name that I love because of that book. Her name was Ivy in the book. And I use that name all the time as like, I don't know, this fake name that I've given myself if I'm like, honestly, I use it at like...
you use it as your name.
I use this as my name.
Okay.
But it's gotten me in trouble because like, I will go somewhere that I will frequent. So like Aroma Cafe. I've gone there since I moved here.
And you've said Ivy a few times.
And I've said Ivy, and then I was like, oh, I'm coming back to this place again and again. And so then the same person would see me and be like, hey, Ivy. And I'm like, I guess I gotta roll with this. I guess I'm like, hey, Nick, like, all right. And then at a point, so like, I had to be like, name. Yes. So I would like
how long
become
did this go
Ivy.
For?
This went on for a few different locations.
For how long?
So like for a while, like honestly, I didn't want to tell them. Like I would respond to Ivy if I heard it. So I was like at a point. I was like, man, like I've gone. Well, it was because I went. It was all from the book. I loved this book so much, but that was like my friends and I would put on wigs sometimes, and we'd go out and karaoke, and like we'd all be like, who are we? Yeah. Like so, like oh, what kind of character do we want to be tonight? Yeah. So actors, and I would just always name myself Ivy, and that was like my go-to name, and also my name's like hard. Yeah. So like I would get tired of repeating it. Oh my God, yes. Kaleina? Like everyone. Thank you so much for saying it so easily. I get Kalani all the time. Kalani? And I'm like, there's no I at the end. If you looked at it, it's not that. Yeah. So it's just what people decide it is.
I feel like you can make a good test out of it.
Why? How?
Because when people introduce themselves, they usually pay attention to them saying their name, not someone else hearing their name.
Interesting.
So if someone repeats back yourself, hi, Kaleina, nice to meet you, you're like, oh, this person was paying attention. Yeah. Versus like, if someone has a quick name like Joe, like sick, like I could have still not really paid attention to what he was saying, but like Joe's easier to pick up than Kaleina. Yeah. So like if someone repeats your name back perfectly, it could be like, oh wow, like this person was like being intentional with like how they
really
were like connecting with me. Mm-hmm. So instead of thinking of it as a bad thing, you could flip it that way.
I could flip it that way. I'm usually it's not responsive. Honestly, it's crazy. It's like it's been I don't know. It's just been lately too. I've been meeting like just a lot of new people, and I've noticed this pattern about my name. Yeah. No one says it back to me correctly, one. And two, I'll get so many different, it's Kaleina a lot I'll get, or Colleen. I've been getting Kalani is shouted out a lot, and I'm like, it's not, are you talking to me? Like, not.
You're like, me?
And then
what?
Me?
Also Ivy?
Yeah. Ivy, I will answer that. So that's exactly, okay, so that's why... This is why sometimes like my name gets like butchered. Yeah. So I'll just like be like, hey, I'm Ivy. And I feel like people hear it and they're like, oh, easy. Okay, I can write this on the coffee or like something like. Yeah. I would always just say it because it was easier.
Maybe you should just change your name.
No, I love my name. I do love my name. I don't sound proud about it, obviously, from this conversation, but I do love my name. Yeah. I just like... I get lazy about it, and I'm like, I'm Ivy. Sometimes I'm just like, I'm Sarah. Like, just write that down on Sarah. Like, I don't want to make their lives difficult. Yeah. And like have to be
Sarah
like, what's your name?
I'm Sarah for 30 seconds. Yeah. Do you know the story of how Jamie Foxx got his name?
I don't.
Okay, so Jamie Foxx, I forgot his actual name. It's not Jamie Foxx, right?
No, it's not. Yeah.
So back in the day, there was not a lot of black comedians or black actors like when he was coming up. And so I think one time he went to like a comedy show and he did really well. And he just never got asked to come back on the stage again. And he knew for a fact that a lot of like these people who were writing the shows were like, oh, like any girl with like a sexy name, regardless of like if they performed at all, would be like first.
Okay.
And so like one day he was like, oh, I'm just gonna change my name, like what's sexy, what's like sounds like a girl.
Interesting.
And he's like, Jamie Foxx, like that's who I am. And so like he puts Jamie Foxx in like I think second or third person gets called up as Jamie Foxx, and they're expecting like a nice like sexy young girl. And Jamie's like, hey. And so then he goes on, he kills it, and that's like one of the and Jamie Foxx sucks. His name has been that till this day.
Till this day. That's crazy. I had no idea about that.
Now you know.
That's very interesting. That's so cool. I think that that's like the thing is you just have to do stuff like that sometimes. Like he's like, you know what, I think this is gonna work out. I'm gonna give this a shot, and it worked out for him, I guess.
Yeah. Is there anything like that you've just been like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it, like in LA that you've done, I guess?
Yes. I actually but it's things that I have to say, like, I do really believe that you benefit from doing it. There's like small things.
I feel like everyone says that, but everyone also doesn't want to do it still. Like in
what way?
So like, for example, I don't know, we'll use the Jamie Foxx thing. You're like, oh, sick. Like, that sounds dope, and that's not a good example. But everyone says after they dump their whole bank account on their art project, it's a movie, it's a podcast, it's like whatever, right? They dump all of it, and it worked out. Like, they became the best movie producer ever, or whatever the story is. Yeah. But then the person listening to it on the other end, they're like, dang, that sounds so cool, but I still don't want to dump all the money that I have right now onto my project. Like,
that's true.
You know?
Absolutely. And it's like, that's what happens most of the time. And it's not because it pays off to take like a huge risk every time and like be like, I'm going to do like, I don't let like my passion like fuel everything. Like, I do think super logical about like if I'm gonna like put all my money into something, or if it's gonna be like, if there's another way to do it too.
Don't let your passion fuel just like every decision.
No. Yeah. Not at all, because it's not. If you're gonna kind of, I think like if you work hard, I always try to kind of say like if you work passionately, because if you work passionately on something, it's still feeding everything that excites you and everything that makes you happy. But if you work like hard on something that just sounds like you're just making it through and you're just like, oh, I'm working hard, I'm struggling, I'm doing like, there's just this kind of connotation, I think, with the word like working hard. Like the word hard. Yeah. And
because passionately can also be seen as hard, but just like with a little bit of love, you know?
Still with this love, still with this light, still with this like excitement of like, this is what you want to be doing. Yeah. So
it's like the workout that you know you're going to get like a smoothie after.
Yeah. Very passionate smoothie.
Yeah, you're like, I'm going to get this smoothie, man. It's going to taste so good.
It's going to be so amazing.
I'm going to do these 30 more burpees to get this.
Honestly, I had the best smoothie yesterday.
What was in it?
It was blueberry, strawberry, banana, pineapple.
Sounds like a fruit bowl.
Yeah, pretty much. They had like almond butter. They added a little bit of Nutella.
Ooh, let's go.
Pretty much, I feel like I did blend up like an acai bowl and like put it in a smoothie. But then they had like the protein. I added protein. Good. I added 2 scoops.
Come on, health.
So
let's go. Getting those macronutrients in, building those lean muscle mass.
Yeah,
let's go.
Yeah, we're getting fit.
Back to let's go back to,
what are we going back to?
Ivy.
Please.
So you're talking about how you what? We're talking about acting.
Yes,
what did you do? Did you like become Ivy growing up? Like did you enact the character?
So this is the thing. I loved so with the books that I read, and that's like one of the books that just like impacted me. Except for Harry Potter. I'm so sorry. I'll read him, I promise, honestly. I definitely loved becoming a character. So like I would
what
find
did you love about
it was just more fun. It was just more fun, and I was like I was so bored with. I had a small group of friends growing up, and I stuck with that group, and I didn't people just didn't interest me growing up. Like
Yeah.
it was very
Except this group.
yeah, I had a really nice group growing up, and just good people. But it's funny because I'm not like friends with any of them anymore. I say that, I'm like, yeah, they were great, and I was like, we don't.
Maybe they're great for that time in your life.
They are great for that time in your life. So anyway, all right, hold on.
We're here. We're holding.
So books. So I would read novels and just more, well, it was more fiction. I would read a lot of fiction, and I would just want to be I would find a character that I felt like I was if they described her, I was like, oh, that kind of sounds like that could be me. That kind of sounds like me. And I was like, I'm gonna be her.
Yeah.
So it would be it's this kind of search of identity that I feel like I had at a younger age. But very creatively, it was more of an imagination. I would be very excited of who am I gonna be?
Yeah.
Or what's gonna hit me, what's gonna be interesting to me, what's what kind of qualities do I like in a person, what do I like about myself. Books would have me questioning a lot of that stuff, and I would write so much. I wrote so much.
What age were you doing this at?
Middle school.
Yeah.
I would say my middle school was 6th to 8th grade. So around that time.
That's so interesting because me growing up, that is furthest from what anything that I've ever experienced.
Interesting. How did you? So tell me about how it was growing up.
It was mostly just school. I didn't think I could be creative. I think it wasn't until me coming out to LA and seeing all these weird, amazing, dope human beings that I'm like, these people are in their 30s and 40s still, and they're acting like kids, right? Let's be careful there.
Sorry.
They're acting like kids, but they're in these adult bodies, and everyone is, all these people that are around me are making money just being a kid.
Yeah.
And it made me realize oh, it's possible to just still have that not necessarily grown boyish spirit. Not have that super stiff, I guess, spirit around, and then still just be loosey-goosey with it and make a living doing it and have just this fun experience.
Yeah.
For example, this group of personal trainers that I hang out with a lot, they go on these barefoot runs in the mountains, right? And they are just fools. We smoke 3-4 joints on the way, and we're running quick, just dancing around.
That's so cool.
And just running through these mountains in 100-degree weather, or in the rain, or when it's cold outside.
Yeah.
Just being a kid. Or at the gym, we do all these really gamified workouts to where how can we make this person work out and have a good time and sweat their ass off and work all these muscle groups, but treat it like a game. Is it passing a 40-pound medicine ball and throwing it so you could work your core, but just it's a game.
But it's fun.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is if you because it's a switch in your brain almost, that if you can make something fun, then you can do it for such a longer time.
Forever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect.
I started not getting into fitness at one point, because I was this is doing the same thing over and over again. You wake up, do this stuff, but the thing is, you could wake up and do it differently. This was it. Oh, maybe I can do jujitsu one day, or kickboxing, or run in the beach, or jump in the ocean, or swim, or balance on a balancing board, or just roll in the grass. You know, any of those are they help you become more fit. You
Absolutely.
Because most people are just sitting stiff here, or at a desk,
us.
like us.
Look at us.
Look at us. These peasants.
Look at them sitting.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But the creativity part, and back to acting, you found value in these characters in these books, which I can't relate to. That's so cool.
Interesting.
I
totally, but the thing is and everyone has a different experience growing up, and everyone's going to have a different experience in school outside of growing up.
Yeah.
And it's that sounds very normal, and very much how it's just like something of like why I came out here is like because I was like that kind of person in school that you're like they're doing something that we're probably not gonna be doing. Like it's I was just a little odd.
Not necessarily. I was just like, oh, maybe it would be cool if I imagined to be like Superman one day and be like, I felt like I could like rule this town or like be the superhero or save this damsel in distress, you know? Like I never like woke up one day and be like, oh, like I want to be this person. I'm going to act like him. Like that's interesting. That sounds like a cool sensation or the ability to do. Like you're like, whoa, I'm going to pretend to be Ivy today.
I appreciate that. That sounds like that's a great perspective. I don't know. I've never heard it like that put into perspective of like, oh, maybe that was a cool thing, I guess. I just thought it was weird. So
well,
thank you.
A lot of people you're welcome. But a lot of people are just like in their own world. Like, for example, I know a lot of gymnastics girls who were like on the UCLA gymnastics team and they compete in the Olympics, some of them, like really cool athletes. But from the ages of like literally when they were able to walk to their full femalehood, it's just all gymnastics, the gym all the time, like no social interactions. And like they're not thinking about being like a princess tomorrow. They're thinking about, oh, like, I'm going to cry because my coach is going to stretch me so hard, you know, that I need to win this shit, you know? And I'm like, whoa.
That's wild.
These three different perspectives, the ones that we just talked about, like the one how you grew up, the one how I grew up, and like the one that I'm telling about our friend, like they're all different.
Yeah. They're all different. And that's like, it's interesting, like what that to me, that makes me like, it's a beautiful thing of what she learned growing up and everything. And I don't know why, like initially my reaction was like, oh gosh, that's so hard.
But like they're tough human beings in the world right now.
Yeah.
You know, and they have like, they've went through all this like resistance, you know, when that's one thing that a lot of actor friends that I have, like lack sometimes, like a lot of like structure and discipline in like those lights.
Yeah, absolutely.
No.
Absolutely. I had, it was like, it's an interesting thing because you think like, here's the thing though too, you associate like creative sometimes and like artistic, and everyone thinks that I'm like messy and like she's artistic.
You know why I think
and
so?
And it's like,
I think it's the overalls and the painted jeans.
The overalls.
I think
and the painted jeans that I just wipe with 100%.
my hand. I think you're giving that. You're saying that
it's the vibe I give on Instagram, or like, but it's a vibe that I can give. Like, my friends know that I'm creative and artistic and whatever. But what's funny is like, if you think about it in terms of like, I'll put on overalls that I don't care about, and I will get them messy, and I will do that. But like, what I'm wearing underneath is maybe why I put on like the overalls. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, but seriously, fair. Like, it's like
it's dope to know that.
Like, I like put on overalls because like, it's also like a berry. It's like putting on an apron for a chef kind of, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, you don't, I know like what mess could happen and stuff with the art, so I put on like overalls I don't care about. Like, I wouldn't. Yeah, it's like kind of, I guess, honestly, I'm also like, I love being like organized. Yeah. It's annoying when my place, like my friends know this too. I get like, I move stuff all the time because I'm like, I don't think it's not, I don't know if it's a feng shui or whatever I'm doing, but like I always move stuff over, and I'm very like, I get very upset if things aren't clean.
Okay, that's real.
And it messes up my, like, I don't like working in a messy space.
I don't either.
So in my art area, if it's messy, which it usually is, it drives me nuts, and it makes me not want to go over there and paint. It doesn't like invite me in. The messiness doesn't invite me.
What invites you to paint? What inspires you to like, oh, I'm going to paint today and put these colors and mix them together and just splotch them on and make this beautiful thing that I think is beautiful?
I really like, it's interesting. I don't feel like I actually have a process. If that's like, I know that that's like a standard thought that like I would be, I'm not painting every day, one. I definitely don't paint every day. And sometimes like painting isn't actually even therapeutic to me. Like, where I think it's associated with like, oh gosh, like painting, she just like chills out and paints. And painting can be like very, maybe it would be therapeutic in a sense, but it's not anything that I'm like, I do plan stuff with like what I'm going to paint. Like, I usually don't, unless I'm getting something out of like the way kind of, I don't like just sit and be like, I wonder what's going to happen. Like I do have an idea every time that I go in to paint something, especially on like a larger, I don't know,
scale.
A larger, like any kind of canvas that's a little larger, just like if it's like the wall or something.
You call it abstract realism, right?
Yeah.
Well, how would you describe abstract realism? Because like to someone who's not an artist, I have no clue what that means.
Yes. It's, so to me, like in basics of like the logistics of what it looks like, I always paint like my foundation is abstract. So I'll paint like an abstract base and it'll look abstract. I'll figure out what I'm doing in that usually.
What's abstract again?
It's just a little more like, I think abstract's a little chaotic, in my opinion. And I think like it allows me to make a mess, and it allows me to just kind of like, I will find colors that I like in that moment, and I'll be like, all right, there's certain little like techniques that you can do with different brushes, and I'll use like a blow dryer to like fan some things out. Like
how do you learn all this?
I guess online of like certain videos, and just when I look up stuff of like how to learn. I didn't like go to school for it, and I didn't I've always loved painting, and I've always loved drawing. And
what does painting and drawing do for you?
I think it allows me to like feed into my curiosity a little bit. Like I have such an overactive imagination, I feel like, and
I feel like it's a cool thing.
It is a cool thing. It is a very cool thing, but I think it's more like, I feel like if you have a lot of like imagination, or that's like a primary thing that is like in your life, that you're always imagining stuff, which goes back to like the books that we were talking about. I was always imagining myself as this person, this person, this person, and that was so fun for me. But I think like imagining stuff is very also like powerful more in your adult life, and you have to kind of be more
powerful. How so?
With imagination, like what it could be. It would be more like, to me, it would lean into more like what you're manifesting for yourself is what I feel like a common
It's like you have
term
more
is.
belief because you could see it in your imagination.
Yeah, it's like a visual, like it's just like, I feel like imagination when we were young is a word we used all the time for like, oh, such an imagination on you. Oh, like imagination this, imagination that.
In a
and
negative
it's
term or
now,
in a good term?
I think in a good term.
Okay.
I think imagination's a beautiful thing. But I feel like now we like kind of say that more in like our adult term. We don't really use imagination. We use visualization. Visualization. Oh, God. Visualization.
There we go. Come on, English.
What did I say at first? God. So we use... God.
We're a couple drinks in, guys.
So we use... God, I just can't talk. We use like visualize...
We're there. I think they understand you.
Visualization.
We understand you.
I'm sorry for everyone
okay.
listening. So we use that a lot. And then we use like manifesting, and those are the two terms that I feel like we've used now in our adult life. But it used to be like imagination. You just kind of used to say imagination.
Isn't it crazy that like just because of overuse of words like imagination, visualization, like I just think icky sometimes.
Yeah.
Or entrepreneur. And like I've been trying my best to not think icky about words that are used a lot, because you should treat words as what they mean, right? So if entrepreneur means businessman, like, or woman, or something like that, like, there's nothing icky to that. Yeah. There's visualization. Yeah. And what's the other one they used? Manifestation. Yeah. Right? Like, usually you think just like maybe a yogi culture or this and that, and it's like, it's so out of this world. But if you look at the definition of visualization, seeing like what's in the future, like, oh, that's real. Yeah. Like, that's cool. Or manifestation, like making something that you believe to come true, you know? Yeah. And you're like, oh, now I see it in a more positive light because I treated it by what it actually meant.
So it wasn't icky anymore.
It wasn't icky anymore.
Why do you feel like those words are icky to you? Like, what do you think? Initially? Why is that?
I think it's because so many like gurus online or like coaches online use them when they haven't used them themselves.
Yeah.
You know, like if a true coach told me that and like I learned everything and I gained the experience from what was promised, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. But there's like a lot of these coaches out there who will help someone, but like that person will go nowhere because that coach hasn't actually done it.
Yes. There's so much, and that goes into, because we're constantly watching stuff too. It goes into like a whole, this is why Instagram, like this goes into like a rabbit hole now of like
I did
watching so much.
I did something relatively embarrassing. I don't know if it's embarrassing, but I bought a cookie jar for my phone.
Okay.
So there's this cookie jar that you open, put your phone in, and you set the timer for how long you want it locked, and it could be 9 days.
You're like baking it.
Yeah, baking it in there. So you press it, and then your phone's just locked. You cannot get out of it unless you want to break it open with a hammer. So, like, I'm trying to cure my phone addiction by using this cookie jar.
Oh my gosh. That's fascinating. That's honestly the thought of like having to, because then if you break it open, you have to clean it up. It's going to go into a whole, you don't want to break it open.
You don't want to break it open.
So, wow.
And it's like thick.
And
it's
you
like
lock it.
It's like a $70 cookie jar.
That's amazing. Honestly, everyone should do that.
Because I'm just like, I'm on this fucking thing too much. Like, I looked at my phone hours the other day. I was like, 8 hours?
Yeah.
I was like, what are you doing, dude?
Why are you...
What are you doing?
Why are you here?
Like, you're only awake for like 14.
It's white.
I mean, I'm a little bit more being exaggerated.
But 8 hours, that's wild. Because what are we actually doing? What are we doing? It's mainly... It's so easy to pick it up and go on it, and I really like
automatically you're like, why am I on Instagram right now? Like, I just picked up my phone
because there's so many things that you could
Twitter,
be productively doing or learning,
playing a fucking game,
anything.
That's why I wanted to like just like anywhere you go, bring a book, like try to just like another fidget spinner.
What books have you been bringing around lately?
Rick Rubin's book.
Okay,
sounds good. The Creative Act. The King, the Magician, the Poet, the Lover, I think. It's like this Stoic book about, it's like Carl Jung philosophy.
Okay.
And then a YouTube book. It's like YouTube Secrets. I'm trying to figure out the algorithm out here.
Okay.
Yeah. So
interesting. What have you been learning about the YouTube book? I'm curious.
I'm like a quarter in, and it just talks about like building your personal brand and like building the show, this and that. I'm like, I'm already there, bro. Like, let me figure it out. Like, fast forward. Like, I don't like skipping books, but sometimes like in this case, I'm just like, I want to get the point that I need to know. Yeah. Versus like Harry Potter, you're not trying to skip like all the way through the point that you need to know. But
this is true. You're just there for the ride.
Just there for the ride. Yeah. Some books I'm trying to find the answer to. Like, there's problems in life, right? That you try to like, I don't know, maybe it's like, I want to lose weight, or I need to figure out how to produce a show, or I need to make money on the stock market. Like, you could find these answers if you dig deep enough and into those spaces. And I'm trying to do that with like just the YouTube stuff. Okay. Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know anything about YouTube stuff.
I don't know. Technology's weird. Back to the phones and everything. It's like there's so many fucking things to do. Yeah. When people tell me like, oh, like I need a hobby, I'm like, there's so many cool hobbies. Especially in LA.
There's so many things.
Go surf, go fucking play golf, go run.
Yes, I started. So here's the thing too. Like, I started going to like this golf course, and it's more like closer to, I feel like Beverly Hills, a little bit like Culver City. I don't know actually. Okay, sick. I don't know the name. It starts with a C, I think. I don't know where I was. But I was playing golf for the first time ever. This was only a few weeks ago, and.
So were you good?
I think I was really bad.
Okay, there we go.
And then I had that one great shot.
Yeah. It felt good.
And I thought that I was really good then that moment. And then it goes away. Golf every day. Exactly. You get that one shot. Yeah. And you think like, I must be brilliant at this sport. Yeah. This is my sport. And then you go and do another one, and you're like, oh, maybe it's not. Maybe
golf was my first girlfriend. Golf was my first girlfriend. Really? Yeah, I've played since I was like, I think,
oh my gosh,
13
so you're good.
or 12.
Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to play pro for a little bit. Yeah.
I don't see it. I can't imagine you as a pro golfer. I cannot imagine you as that. Do you think you can imagine yourself as that now still?
100%.
Really?
You don't see it?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying either. I've gone golfing once.
The craziest thing about like my life, I like to like, I want people to see me one way, but also like do things a different way. So like the biggest thing in college, a lot of people would tell me like, oh, what frat are you going to join? This and that, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I don't want to be known as the frat guy.
Yeah.
Right. So after college, like everyone asked me like, oh, what fraternity were you in, this and that? I was like, oh, I wasn't in one.
Yeah.
Or like I would just like be really good at math, but also I don't know. What I'm trying to say is like everything. I like keeping people on my toes. I like them being wrong in the initial judgment because everyone judges someone right away.
Yeah.
Right. And judgment, not in a bad term, but like, oh, I think this person is this way. Yeah. And I was like, how cool would it be if like whatever this person thought is the complete opposite, and then I might be more interesting. That's kind of like how I thought about it.
So I feel like this goes back to like more of an LA conversation of like everyone's trying to be interesting, I feel like out here, or like of interest, or like why, because there's so many different outlets that you have to almost like perform a version of yourself for. Yeah. You know, like whatever job that you have, there's just so many, like just with social media, with Instagram, TikTok, I never had Twitter. I don't know. Is that tweeting? Tweeting.
I just got on Twitter. I'm obsessed.
Twitting.
I'm obsessed.
It should be twitting. Why is it tweeting? If you think about it.
Well, it's not Twitter anymore. It's X.
Can you just cut this? I don't know. I know Instagram and TikTok. That's all I've ever known. And I hardly know TikTok, so I don't know why I'm really speaking for it.
I really liked, I was looking through your TikTok today because I was like, I need to know more about this person. I couldn't find too much about you.
I don't have much. You see that I go on Sundays to the movies.
That's what I was going to talk to you about.
Literally.
I was like, what do you find the benefit of doing enjoyable things on your own? Because my mom, I'll call my mom and be like, yo, I want to go to dinner tonight. Who are you going to dinner with, honey? I was like, myself. She's like, you're so weird. And I'm like, thanks, Mom. And then I'm going to go to a movie after. She's like,
who are you going with?
I was like, myself. She's like, you're crazy. No. And I'm like,
I'm so sorry.
I love doing things on my own.
Yeah.
You know, like taking yourself out on a date. Like,
yeah.
I think this about a lot. I was like, yo, if you don't treat yourself like nicely, why would you treat someone else nicely?
This is true.
Or the vice versa, you know? Yeah,
because you're bringing that kind of, you're bringing in that energy for yourself as well. And you know your value and what you should be treated as. But I love doing stuff. I do love doing stuff alone, but I'm going to be like, to an extent, like there's going to be a point, there's nights, there's times, there's days where I'm just like, damn, I'm doing this alone. Like it's what? Not always going to be just even going to the movies like that. I'm like, oh, like it would be fun to go with someone right now. Actually, movies are a bad example because I genuinely love just going to the movies by myself. Like even my friends kind of know this, that like I don't really ask people to go to the movies that often. I did like 2 days ago to my friend, but if she's watching this, then you're
an exception.
Yeah, you're an exception. But I do like typically going to the movies by myself. I have my AMC A-list. I'm set. I'll just show up and it's...
I haven't seen a movie
I don't know. I love sitting in the... Also, I'm really spoiled with these like recliners.
They're dope.
And I'm like, this is better than my couch right now. So good. So nice. It's so nice. Universal's amazing.
You're in a cloud.
Yeah, and I'm like, I will only request, like, when I go on my list of movies, like, I will go to the theater and the time that has the AMC recliners. Because why would I sit in any other chair?
So why do you like doing the things by yourself? And then I guess, like, why would you rather sometimes do it with other people?
I think it's always wonderful to do things by yourself. You will have a totally different experience than you do like with another person. And I think that we don't experience ourselves enough. Like, I think that we don't do enough with ourselves because we're always looking to do things with another person, or whether it's a relationship, a friendship, or with family, like we want that companionship with us. So I think like if that's how you feel, it's usually because you're not comfortable with yourself and like hanging out with yourself and being like, this is what it's going to be today or tonight. You're cool. I like hanging out with, all right, that's fine. You know, it doesn't have to be this like, I love myself so much. I'm like,
there are some people like that.
I feel like that's kind of what's like projected a lot. And it's like, there's just so much more to it than that because it's like, you have bad days and you have good days, and it's like doing stuff by yourself isn't always like a lonely thing. I think it's very much what we need, and we don't give ourselves enough sometimes. And it's such an easy thing for me to be like, I want to go to the movies by myself with myself, because I get to like sit and not talk about it with someone, or just like me in a movie sounds awesome. But I can't say that for everything. There's just always stuff that like you kind of are like, no, I want someone to go with me to that. No, like it'll be so much more fun if I've got someone with me that is fun and funny, or this and that, you know, whatever it is.
Is going to the movies by yourself like your favorite thing to do by yourself? Yes, easily. I think mine's going to a bar.
Interesting.
And sitting in the corner.
I feel like that's so much harder to do by yourself.
Okay, not at the bar itself, but like in a corner where you could see everybody.
Okay, so people watcher,
but like it's similar to a movie.
Yes.
Because like I think there might be multiple stories going on. Like you see someone who's like an older couple, like are they here on vacation? There's like this young couple on a date, clearly. You have the single guy or girl at the bar, like what are they thinking? Why are they here?
Interesting.
You have the bartender who either loves their job or is like, oh, like I hate my fucking job. Why the fuck am I still doing this? I've been trying to be an actor for 30 years, like type of deal, and I'm still goddamn bartender. There's also the bartender who loves like the craft of the cocktail, right? And who's like talking to every guest like so passionately, like, that's interesting. You know? And so like now you have all these stories and you're just sitting there with your cocktail in hand and you're like, well, this is dope.
What bar would you go to do that?
I try to hit a different one every once in a while, like every time I do that.
What's been like your most fun, interesting experience doing that?
I think they're all, because you always have like one cool experience.
Okay.
One time I was at Jones. You know where Jones Hollywood is? Love
Jones.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And like I forgot, I think it was a cast of some show was there, and I was in the center with just a friend of mine. No, sorry. That was with a friend of mine. But I was with a friend of mine, and there was like people fighting at the bar. There's this like cast over here. I think Chance the Rapper's with his like wife over here.
Yeah.
And like there's people making out. There's like all these crazy things, and you're like, my life is so weird. Or like I'm living in a movie back to like you as Ivy.
God. Yeah. That's true. It's very true, because you would like the outside perspective. It'd be fun to be like invisible for a day and watch everyone do these kind of things and see how people live their lives and how they interact with each other.
Invisible in that situation.
But it depends on, like, here's the thing, like, I love the thought of going to a bar by myself. I think that's so cool.
All you gotta do is wear, like, a hoodie and, like, not wear a cute outfit.
A hoodie would look so sketch, I feel like. Can you imagine?
Not like a bright pink hoodie, you'll be good.
Yeah, but if you're, like, sitting here, like, wonder what's going on, like in a hoodie, I'm like gonna be like, well, who is this guy? Why is he here?
I guess in this case I'm blessed not to be a good looking female.
You could just be in a hoodie and be like, I'm chilling. Like,
you could.
Okay.
You definitely could. I think your tone is making it sound worse than it is.
It depends on what bar, because I think we were like, I have a few different visuals of bars, and I can't, like, when you were just like, I'd just be sitting in the corner in a hoodie. I like something very ominous.
You can make a hoodie look so dope with like some jeans, some like nice Air Force Ones.
I agree.
You're making this hoodie sound so sketch. Like, get that shit out of here, please.
This was a sketch hoodie that was like observing in the corner. No, you look cool. All right, so cool hoodie.
Cool hoodie vibes.
Cool hoodie at the bar.
I'm talking about for you, since you thought about it in a negative light.
Yes, I did. Sorry. I feel like going to a bar, though, can be intimidating, because if you can't, like, sit in a corner, if you can't, like, be on that, you kind of have to sit in, like, the middle or whatever chair is open and everything. How do you go to the bar by yourself and just like sit on a drink, and do you want to talk to the person next to you? Do you kind of just sit and look around for a while? Like, what do you do? You know?
Well, I do like meeting people at bars. There's like 2 days that, one, I do want to meet people.
Okay.
And two is like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to like watch people.
Interesting. Okay.
And I think some of the most interesting people I've met at bars and as a bartender too. And some of them are my best friends, and some of them are like crazy to the point where like, we're still friends to today, and they will be like, hey, my Hawaii house is open. Do you want to come for a weekend?
Oh my God.
Like, and this is all people at a bar. Like, yeah. Example, my first bartending job was California Pizza Kitchen.
Okay.
And I met this guy, and we've kept in contact. I said I launched the bitters company, and like, he bought it and all his friends bought it. And just for me remembering, I was like, hey, like, this is Nate, do you remember me? You had an extra dry martini with 2 olives. Like, and it was been 3 years since that, but I remember his exact cocktail. It was my first bartending job. This and that one day, and I got all these bitter sales from it. And then like, I got a place to stay in San Diego whenever I need it, or like go visit his house in Hawaii whenever. And it's just because I paid attention to who he was and remembered his cocktail.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just like, that's
it was
crazy.
being personable. It was being like, because people appreciate it because it doesn't happen that often.
You don't think that happens that often?
I don't think here it does. As much as like, I think people are always more curious about what they can get from another person than like actually just being like, let me just talk to someone. Let me just get to know someone and see how that goes. I feel like there's always a little more intention. Unfortunately, I don't think that everyone does that as often as like they should. I think that's so lovely, because that's like, that was just you being like inquisitive about a person. You were like, I want to talk to them. I want to say hi. I want to get to know them a little bit.
Well,
and then boom, something amazing came out of it.
I feel like you could learn so much from any person though. Like,
absolutely.
Back to like the childhood stuff that we talked about by me and my friend. Like, just that alone, if you uncovered like that small glimpse of their life, you could understand so much about yourself. You understand?
Absolutely.
Because like, oh, like not everyone grew up just doing maths and sciences. Some grew up having an imagination of being a princess. Like,
sure.
You know, and having this creativity and drawing.
Yeah.
And like, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah. I'll clarify. I always didn't imagine being a princess.
I was talking about you.
But I imagined being a mermaid.
Mermaid.
Never imagined being a princess, actually.
I could see you with some aerial action.
It's probably because I've always wanted to be a mermaid. So someone cast me as a mermaid. I loved, like, my favorite series, I guess, or franchise would be Pirates of the Caribbean. I loved Pirates of the Caribbean. I just watched it recently.
Really?
The rainy day, our hurricane quake that we had.
Oh.
I watched Pirates of the Caribbean.
I love a good movie when it's raining. I like sleeping while it's raining.
You just sleeping? Well, when you wake up, what do you watch?
What do you mean?
Like when you wake up, if you're sleeping when it's raining because it's peaceful, what do you watch though when you wake up?
Like TV?
Yeah, like TV and movies. Like, what's your go-to?
I don't watch that much TV and movies.
Really?
No.
Okay, so from not watching much TV and movies, what is your favorite?
Like, I love sleeping in the... Oh, movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you this because I feel like it's a good question. I like Dead Poets Society a lot.
Interesting choice. Okay, I mean, it's amazing.
I like the quotes from it.
Yeah.
Like, I think I've watched too many inspirational videos of that movie scene in there, but I've also watched the whole movie.
Yeah.
About the importance of like art and like the importance of also the sciences and the maths, but also like there's a beauty and creativity, right?
Yeah.
I'm a big poker guy, so I did like Rounders. Have you watched Rounders? With Matt Damon and Ben Affleck? It's really good. No, not Ben Affleck. That's what's that one? That's the one with Robin Williams.
That's Good Will Hunting.
So Good Will
not poker.
No, I know, but Rounders is with Matt Damon as well.
Okay.
Honestly, two of my favorite movies are all with like Robin Williams and Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're so good.
That's Robin Williams is up there for me too.
Yeah.
That Robin Williams. Good Will Hunting is one of my favorite movies.
So good.
The Birdcage is one of my favorite movies.
I don't think I've watched Birdcage.
The Birdcage. It takes place in Miami. It's Nathan Lane, Robin Williams. It was filmed it takes place in the 80s, but I believe it was filmed in like early 90s. So good. It's such a funny movie. It's such a great, it's still so funny. It's still so good. Like, you can't say that for all of the movies that like I love watching The Birdcage.
What makes a good movie?
Interesting. I feel like, to me, I want to care more about the characters than the plot. So I feel like it depends on if it's like a plot-driven movie or a character-driven movie. And I'll always lean into characters a little bit more.
Can you give me an example of a plot-driven movie and a character-driven movie?
So a character-driven movie would be like Girl Interrupted. Okay. I know, like it's. I know. I figured probably, but Girl Interrupted, Angelina Jolie. Okay. Winona Ryder. Brittany Murphy. It was one of the first roles for what's her name in *Handmaid's Tale*. Can't think of her name. She's the lead in *Handmaid's Tale*, but it was one of her first roles. She played like the movie is an institution for women of the 70s that were like had depression or any kind of mental illness. They would be institutionalized because it wasn't like understood or anything like that either. And so any kind of institution was very this one was just females in the movie, and it's like it's the dynamic between all of these.
This is character driven.
This is character driven. It is just the dynamic between all of the women in the movie, and all of the characters and all of their struggles and all of the things that they're each going through. And there's such like a beautiful element to it of like they created this weird sense of community with these girls in an institution, and being understood by someone, and getting better, and like eventually, like Winona Ryder's the main character, and it's her just growing with herself and kind of like figuring out if she's better or worse by the end of the movie, and getting out of the institution and being like kind of moving through, and it's this beautiful it's very character driven, just because like there's not a lot of characters. It's a group of them, and they all just like, you feel for all of them. And I think, to me, like if it's character driven, you are just like, I'm able to feel for all of the characters that I'm watching right now, and that's like why I'm continuing to watch this movie or show. Whereas like if it's plot driven, it's kind of more you're watching this for the plot, and like the characters accompany the plot. You know, they're just there to like add on to it. The like plot itself is something intriguing to you, and like exciting.
Happen, or like what's the end game going to be, or like
I mean, like, and any like most action movies are plot driven, and the characters drive it on, and you know, help it like move along to who did what, and how did this get there, and is he gonna save her, is this gonna work out in the end? Like, it's kind of it would be like any action movie, honestly. Every movie, I feel like
Kaleina doesn't like action movies.
I love action movies. It's funny, I love huge inspiration for me, action movies, but they're plot driven. Like if I like from an actor's perspective, not entertainment, from an actor's perspective, if I'm going into the psychology of things, I love watching character-driven stuff, just because, like, I'll be like, oh, interesting, that was a cool choice. Why did she do that? Why did this happen?
Because the things that they do in their character for those type of movies is way more, not necessarily important, but like stands out more. Yeah.
Well, it's why I love acting, because I'm curious, and I have this like, I feel like I'm overly curious about people and situations and circumstances, and it goes into imagination, but it's like this curiosity is fed through acting, you know, whereas like other jobs and other things that I could pursue would not feed that. Like, I want to be so many different people, and I want to be able to do so many different things in my life, and like the only way to actually be able to do all of the things I want to do, I can do some of them absolutely in this lifetime, but with acting, because how am I, like, with acting, I'm like, I can be all of these.
Like this and that.
Yeah, I can be all of these different things for a moment. And that to me is enough. Yeah. Whereas it's not to another person. That would not be enough to another person. To me, it's so fulfilling to go from this to that to that. And that's so much fun. And that's like very, if I could live my life like that, that would be amazing. So that's definitely why I would say I love acting.
I guess let's circle around back to, like you said, my dream or my goal was to stay out here for a year and see what I could do in Hollywood. Yeah. And you didn't finish. What were you gonna say?
This is interesting. It's been honestly, it's been a roller coaster, and I'm very, very grateful. It's pretty wild because currently, I would say I've gone through so many transitions of like representation, opportunities, door open, door closed, like. There's so much of it in this time, and like there's a lot of new beginnings, and you have to be, that's like the most advice I would give to someone is like, you have to be okay with like almost constantly starting over and constantly having new beginnings, because there's no consistency to it. And it's like, you have to be able to kind of go with it. And it's a struggle. Like, it's something very difficult that I've just been learning more to like how to adapt better to in 9 years, you know? And it's like, it's exciting. I had a really beautiful meeting recently, and it was very inspiring and very like, I've never been told the things that they told me. And I've gone through a lot of representation, and I've gone through a lot of a trial and error with people. And it was so cool because they gave me insight that I hadn't heard before, and just...
Could you share any of that?
I could say that they inspired me to like use everything to my ability. And I didn't realize how many things until I kind of was talking to them about the things that I can do well and things that I feel confident about doing. And they're like, that's a lot of things. And I never thought that it was a lot of things. And I was like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. Like, it's whatever, it's no big deal. And they're like, that's a lot of things. Yeah. Let's figure out how to mold that into something that would help you in every single aspect of what you love doing. Yeah. It was such a lovely meeting because it made me feel so inspired leaving. And I had never felt so, I think like just very like seen by like, not just stuff I was saying about myself or things they were asking, and like just in the conversation in general, I just felt very like, I feel like I've known these people for a while. And I felt so comfortable. I wasn't nervous before I went into the meeting, which is also like, I think you grow accustomed to being like, oh, God, something like we're about to go into something really exciting, really like could be life changing. We don't know. And these nerves build up, and I didn't feel nervous. And that was so interesting to me. I was very like, there was an excitement.
Talking like,
like, I was just very like, oh, I'm going in. It's another day. Like, I'm just going in to like talk to people that care about me, and I care about them, and that's cool. Like, it was not anything that I was like, oh my God, what do I say? Like, what do I like? I had the thoughts of like those things prior to going in, but that day before I went, like I did practice like any questions I had and anything. I was like, no, I want to make sure I talk about this. I want to make sure that I get this across in case this is my only opportunity or something.
You don't know when the next one would be.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was really trying to prepare myself. I wasn't just like, oh, whatever happens, happens. Like, we're just going to go in and see what's up. Yeah. I definitely had like an idea of like how I wanted to navigate the conversation or questions I had that I would not feel fulfilled if I left without them. So I just, I don't know. It was great. I was in there for like an hour and a half, and they told me they gave me a lot of advice, and they gave me a lot of insight as to what I could provide.
With all your skills.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were talking.
So-
The thing that did get cut out was the bear on the unicycle.
The bear on the that was so good. That was so good.
Basically, guys,
Please say it again.
I was talking about Naval Ravikant talks about this story of, he gives the example of like, oh, there's this bear, right? And like, okay, bear's cool. And then like there's a unicycle, like, all right, sick, a unicycle, but a bear on a unicycle, like that's interesting.
Yes.
And then we were basically talking about how like Kaleina's the bear on the unicycle, and she felt that way for the first time, you know? And like, I think it's important to be that way. And I told you it was like really hard for me to reverse engineer that, like being a curious person was good sometimes, because like, oh, why am I working out while doing a podcast, while starting a business, while barefoot running the mountains, while doing yoga? And like, it's like, yo, like that's a lot. Like, why are you doing all that? But like sometimes the amount of people who like hit me up and you're like, yo, like you're interesting, dude. Like, why are you doing all that? Like, why? Like, it's interesting though.
It's interesting, and it like, it's just, you're curious about like, it's all about experiences and like experiencing different versions of yourself, or different like you running barefoot through the mountains on a rainy day versus you doing this podcast right now. They can be two different people, kind of, you know? And I think that that's the interesting part that we don't like nurture always about ourselves, which is like, you're going to be so many different versions of yourself, and that's totally okay. And that's something so cool. And we think it's negative, I think, sometimes, and we try to like make it just one thing about ourselves. So I've always been like curious of all the different like different aspects and versions and interests of myself. So I think that that's a really great thing if you're curious. You know?
I'm also sometimes envious of, like, for example, I have a couple people who've been on the podcast who have this obsession of just being really good at one thing. This one guy, he's a film photographer. He's obsessed with film photography. All he does is film photography every single day, like doing the thing with actually going and developing the film. And he talks about it so passionately, and that's the only thing he talks about. Yeah,
but that's beautiful. That's so cool. I would love to just be interested in one thing. Honestly, like, I would love that.
But don't you like being interested in all the things you are interested in now, though?
You know, someone told me once, I remember I was out, I know exactly where I was. I was at Sunset and Vinyl, and this person I was with.
Is that a vinyl shop?
No, it's a really cool speakeasy, actually. Oh. Sunset and Vinyl is if you go behind...
Kaleina knows more speakeasies than I do.
Get this. If you go, it's 800 Degree Pizza.
Okay.
On, like, Sunset and Vine.
Very good pizza spot.
A great pizza spot. If you go to the back of the pizza spot and up the stairs, it's Sunset and Vinyl.
Oh,
it's on the second floor, and it's very small, but you can play any... They have a bunch of vinyl, and
that's so sick.
You can pick up like a record and play whatever you want, and it's really cool.
Wow.
Love this bar.
Definitely need to check it out.
Definitely need to go to this bar. But I was with someone there, and they told me we were just talking all night, and it was awesome and like wonderful conversations. And he had said, he's like, that must be so exhausting. He either asked me, does it get exhausting? Or he said, that must be so exhausting. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, what's exhausting? And he's like, wanting to be so many things. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, why would that be exhausting? And he's like, that must be exhausting for you because you're really good at a lot of things. Which, like, not to sound like, and I think I'm okay at a lot of things.
You're good at
but I'm not. But I'm not. It's a jack of all trades, master of none. Like, I don't know if I've mastered all of the things, but I feel confident about a lot of things. And there could be like a different like level to that also. But he had said to me, he's like, that must be exhausting, like being good at all those things. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, I'm only good at one thing. And I was like, what do you mean by that, though? And he's like, I'm good at one thing, and that's perfect for me. He's like, because that sounds awful to be, like, have so many different things that you could do and follow. He's like, I know this is the only thing that I could do. And he's like, you have, like, these options. And immediately I was like, do I have options? And, like, that does sound kind of overwhelming.
It does.
You're right. I could take this path.
Wow.
I could take this path. I could take that path.
And you don't know where they go.
And I don't know where they go. And I don't know really which one I want to do. But if I have these options of things that I feel talented with or things that I feel confident about that I could follow, and even if it's like a business thing, it's an art thing, like there's different avenues for like your whole life. So I kind of was like, when he said that to me, I was like, wow, I've never thought about it like that. And he's like, I have one thing that I'm good at. And he also was not in the creative field. He did marketing.
Yeah.
He was analytics and like
That is
it totally.
eye-opening, though.
And he's like, I'm good at that. I know I'm good at that. There's not other things that I feel I could be good at or have an interest in. He's like, you seem to have so many different interests and things that you're good at. That's awful. And I was like, wow, it kind of feels like it's a blessing curse situation sometimes, because like you don't know, you have to feel like you make the right decision, or you have to feel like you're going to do what you love the most.
Yeah, so when you come into that like fork in the road of like decision making, you're like, you have option A and option B.
Yeah.
And they're both sound dope.
Yeah.
Like they're like, wow, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
That sounds cool. Like, how do you decide for like which task or decision to make? Because like if you decide to do one thing, you're neglecting another.
Yeah.
A little bit. You can't put all like equal effort in both things. It's really hard to do.
Yeah.
Like your attention's where your attention's at the time. And to make something grow or develop a skill at some point in like your life, you have to pay attention more to that thing in that time frame to do so.
I think that's why, like, I like with painting, with acting, with writing, it just ebbs and flows. Like if I'm painting, usually I paint if not a lot is going on with acting, or if I'm not feeling creative writing and I'm painting. So that's like what's going on at that moment. If I'm involved in writing something, I don't paint as much. And it's also like, it just feels like, and probably like maybe I'm acting here and there, but it's not something like that I'm committed to for like 2 months of work or something. And then if I'm acting, I'm not coming home from acting probably painting. I'm not coming home from acting writing something. I'm just coming home and going to sleep. You know, it's not, I don't feel like you do everything simultaneously. Like I think that there's designated time in your life and periods of your life that you do more than the other. So it's interesting because I'm not sure. I think with the strike, let's talk about the strike. I'm doing more like I'm painting and I'm writing right now.
For people who do not know, like my parents didn't know that there was like a Hollywood strike going on. So there's a strike for the writers and actors guilds of Hollywood.
Yes.
They're striking against like fair wages and stuff, against AI and like all these other big industries. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes. Okay. There's a huge there's like a whole sheet, like line sheet kind of like, it's about like 5 pages of what exactly I know from my end, from like I'm a SAG member and I will read the emails that they send.
It's so responsible of you.
Yes. And I saw like when the strike first happened, they sent out a sheet that had like 5 pages of exactly what they're requesting from these. Pretty much the strike is happening towards all of the big dogs. Yeah. You know, like anything like Warner Brothers, Universal, Paramount, like it's going to all the major companies. Yeah. And it's not targeting like A24. And
nothing's happening right now, guys. Like
nothing's
jobs.
happening. No one's agreeing. Nothing's happening. And this is the thing that's very difficult. That like, it's very hard that like the crew of films and TV shows and like everyone has to suffer right now. And the thing is, like, to be honest, like most actors, like we work here and there, but it's not like the majority of us are working consecutively. The strike is actually having a crazy impact on us. We're just constantly auditioning and hoping to land that thing or this and that, and there's other stuff that we do on the side because like we always need to, so that side stuff hasn't gone away.
That's also something that like a lot of people who don't live in LA and Hollywood understand. It's like a lot of people think you're on TV, you're a millionaire. Like,
it's wild.
It's not the case.
Because there was his name's Luke, and he's on like a lot of he posted a video, and he's on a lot of shows as like he's a series regular on different shows, and he's a the ranking is like co-star, guest star, series regular. And there's some shows where he is on like 8 episodes, but he's considered a guest star. He's not a series regular. And so he's right underneath them. He talks about kind of the difference in what they make per episode. He makes like, say, $7,000 a week for if he's filming a few episodes, whatever, they'll pay him out for the week. You get $7,000. The series regulars are getting $100,000 per episode, not per week, per episode.
What?
There's the difference in he's getting it per week. So like it'll come down if he works like, twice a week, he's getting roughly like $3,500 per episode. Yeah. They're getting $100,000. There's no actual, like, there's no line, there's no boundary of like what the levels are. That's actually wild. And so he's like, I'm on a billboard on Sunset. I did not get paid for the billboard, and I see nothing. I'm still bartending. Yeah. He's like, I'm on a billboard on Sunset and I'm still bartending. It's not always this glamorous like lifestyle, or even like you have to really define what success is for yourself. Because,
but maybe that could be it. Like maybe someone who's super happy with that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's exactly it. It just comes down to what you define as successful and what can make you happy in that.
What's your definition of success?
This is a great question because I've been trying to figure it out actually recently. I think that successful to me, like, I think I've been kind of in a fog of, I think that success would come from money and finances and being financially free and all of that. And success would come from like whatever I want to achieve and whatever goal and dream I've set out for myself. Have I gotten there yet? And I'm like, if I don't feel like I have both, then am I unsuccessful? And I think that maybe you could have like, I think that success could be, it's just so not linear. It's very like, it's very all over the place because I'm like,
also,
I also feel like
your standard of success changes as more success you get
happens. And exactly. So it's constantly changing. So I don't really like keep up with what I think success is. Yeah. And I think
my definition's like pretty like lax in the sense it's doing what you want to do when you want to do it with the people you want to do it with. Okay. Like that's my definition.
That's great.
And I thought about it for a long time too.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so most of the time in my life, I do what I want to do. Not when I want to do it, but it's usually with some people I want to do it with. So there's like some void in there. So it's close, So it's like, because if you think of it as a number, you always want to have like a higher number monetarily. If you think it's like an experience, like, oh, you always want to experience more things. So instead of like defining success as something that is a number or a measurable thing of like how much is it, what are the characteristics of success, and can you keep those characteristics around you for long enough?
Yeah. It would be like it's just the values of what success is to you. Yeah. And it's like, it's not, it changes with you and who you are as a person and where you are in your life. And it can go smaller, it can go bigger. I really think like you adapt to what you think success is initially. Like that's that's the thought I have. But I think right now I'm like kind of redefining what success is for myself. And because I've had a lot of, I don't know, I guess it would just be a lot of transitions this year. Well, and it's been so exciting. But like, it's exciting, and then it gets really like, oh my God, is this going to happen? And then it's up, and then it's, I don't know, is this happening? And then it's happening, and then it's gone away again. So it's so much of that I'm like, it takes you on this, it just takes you on this roller coaster, and it's very,
What advice do you have to, I guess, the people out there to make it in LA? Because I guess you have like 9 years under your belt, right? Yeah. There's a lot of, you said it was going to be 1 year, right? But what's kept you here? What's made you, because like I have a lot of like I have probably a few high school friends who came out here and couldn't make it, and they moved home within the year.
Yeah.
Or like, I see people, like, I'm friends with them for a year, and then, oh, what happened to them? Oh, they moved home.
Yeah.
Or they moved to a different town for a different job, or this and that. What's gotten you to stay, and what's gotten you to stay, and like, why?
Yeah. I think this is home at this point, and I don't see myself going anywhere else for a long time until I have achieved what I want to achieve and be in exactly kind of the place and position in my life that I want to be in. I'm going to stay here until that happens. Yeah. And I don't have a plan of like where I imagine myself. I'll figure that out at some point. It's going to come to me, but right now I don't see myself. I love traveling and I love experiencing other places, but I don't see myself leaving here until I feel accomplished in what I want to do and who I want to be.
I also feel like I love living here. Like a lot of people don't, and they'll tell me, I'm like, don't live here then. Like it's expensive. Like there's all these like bad things about it. But like, I love LA. I do. I'm not jaded yet. Yeah. Like I'm definitely not like, I don't feel bitter about LA. I think I just like, I've been in where I'm at for about 5 years now. And there's something very cool about that. And I love it. And I love the people I live around. And there's just there's a lot of history there. And I love this area. But there's part of me that gets bored with that also. And I kind of really liked the first few years that I lived out here. I lived in a different place every year. Yeah. I lived in a different part of town every year because so many places in LA. Silver Lake is different than Santa Monica. Silver Lake's dope. I've just been to Silver Lake the first few times. It's sick. It's cool, and there's so many cool spots, but it's a matter of like, for someone that was thinking of moving to LA, I don't actually know where I'd tell them to move to. There's a lot of good places. There's a lot of good places, and it's like it's different. You get a different vibe every place. For sure. I've been really, what we were talking about, I've been really into being on kind of the west side and being towards like Venice and Santa Monica. Over there, and I like doing like ocean plunges once a week. Just oh my god! Diving in the ocean. Oh, you actually like physically being cold. I thought you meant like, oh, it's cooler. Like there's cooler people. You like being actually cold. Oh my god, no! Cold plunges sound terrible to me. I hate being cold. I grew up in Florida though. Like my body's just accustomed. I'm better in heat. Yeah, but the thing is like, cold. If you didn't have a lot of sleep and you want to wake up, just throw yourself in a cold shower. Yeah. Like I promise you'll wake up. God, I know that you're not wrong. Time. I did that at one point, and I just like cold showers every day. It makes me so miserable. It's so no. I would have a hot shower. It's similar to working out. It's miserable for that 10 minutes you're in the shower, but you get out and you're like, wow, like today's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna kill today. See, I'll do the reverse. So I'll wake up, I'll go work out, and then I'll come take a hot shower because I like worked out so good. But then wouldn't you be tired still? No, like it depends on the weather outside. I mean, like I'm not gonna say that today is a beautiful day. It was like I felt like 100 today. It was like 94. It was so hot. It was hot. That we could like go and enjoy a nice cold. I don't want to say cold. I hate cold. It's too much. Like it's when you get in a cold pool, you have to like jump in. Sweater weather's a vibe. It's coming up. A good cardigan? A good cardigan. I like being cold if I'm warm. Okay. You know what I mean? Like I'll totally be cold if I'm warm. I'll put my earmuffs on and cute gloves and I'll be good. Yeah, like I'm so satisfied. This feels great. I love being cold. Love a nice scarf. Yeah. I love to be like just completely. I want to feel like a blanket walking Christmas outside. 100%. There we go. I don't like being cold. Okay. I think people know now. Like, I wanted to ask you about some things about painting. Okay. So I don't have the ability to see something. Yeah. And then or envision something in my head and then make it on paper. Like if I'm envisioning like Einstein smoking a cigar, it will be like scribbles on a paper. Yeah. Versus for you, like clearly you could see something and in your head and put it down, and I can understand what you're putting on paper. Why are you shaking your head?
appreciate that, but that's not true.
What about the Mac Miller one?
I plan it out still. It's not just like,
What do you mean?
I will say, like, maybe it makes me sound cooler as an artist or something to like say like, yeah, I just sketch it out. It just comes to me and I put it down. No, like I'll look up a picture of that person.
Okay.
I'll have that picture printed out. I'll Photoshop something that's like, if I want, you said Einstein holding what?
A cigar.
A cigar, yeah. Einstein holding a cigar. I may Photoshop a picture of Einstein holding a cigar and base it off of that and like just see it and see what that is. And then start painting, and I'll still reference, like, I use reference photos. I use, like, I'm not going to tell you that everything completely comes from just my mind. It's still, like, it's not anything there's nothing negative about this. It's just, like, I still have to visualize the thing that's in my head. I can create a thought and I can create an image in my head, but I can't always completely put that on a canvas. And if I can have some help putting it on a canvas and see a picture and be like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, I see where his brows are a little furrowed. He looks a little angry or like whatever, and he's holding the cigar this way, his fingers this way. I can see that, and then I'll paint that, and it comes out or it doesn't. But yeah, I get help with that, you know, like it's not abstract things like will come from my mind, because that's just more of like something that you're like channeling and like just being like, oh, we're gonna see what happens. Like,
do you kind of just is painting like a form of play for you sometimes? Yeah,
absolutely. It's more of it's definitely, I get very excited when I create something that I like, but most of the time that doesn't happen. So honestly, when I started painting and when I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna paint tonight, there's this like part of me that I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna come out. Well, I guess we're gonna see, and we're gonna see if we're gonna waste a canvas or not, which I also don't waste canvases because I always like
repaint over it or something.
Yeah. But I do feel like a big thing for me that I've learned with art is most of my mistakes and things that I've been like, oh, what did I do to this canvas? What did I just paint? Why did I use those colors? Oh, this is stupid. If I'm saying that to myself, usually it's one of my favorite things that I end up making. I really do think that like mistakes turn into something very beautiful and very magical and marvelous, and that's how I do see art. And I think that most of the things that I have really enjoyed painting and things that I've really liked and feel very like proud about have come from these huge mistakes that I've made and been like, I don't know why, and then I add a certain color or I do something to it that prompts me to be like,
that's interesting.
And then I keep going, and then I'm like, oh my God, I love this. Oh, this is great. You know, so I really do think that like that's my, I feel like I'm very comfortable in feeling like discouraged about like when I start painting.
I've been here before.
I'm like, oh yeah. I've been like, usually I love, this is the first step of the whole process is not liking my painting and not liking what I just did. Because I kind of just like, I look at it and I'm like, this, I don't know what I'm doing right now. And then I'll add on to it and I'll keep going, and I don't like give up on like how I think it can be something better and more interesting. So I guess it's probably like, this will go into like a whole deep, like we can throw that into my life and how I see things too. But
I mean,
like,
I feel like that's with anything. The more mistakes that happen, like obviously the only reason why there are good things in life is because there are bad. The only reason why there is love is because there is hate. You know, you have to have one to have the other. And so if you fuck up, of course, like the only way is to like have a good thing happen right after
give it some love and be like, I'm gonna figure out how to make this into something. I'm gonna hang you up. I'm gonna make sure that like it's just, I do think that that's like, I don't know, it is how I see life in a way. And I do like, I feel like that's typically what I would describe my process of art. for art that I make myself, I don't know what I'm doing most of the time. I have no idea what I'm doing most of the time. And I can't say that I enjoy that initially.
I feel like that's a lot of people's mentality on life, though. They're like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah. And you don't, but the thing is, like, my immediate response in that is like, what am I doing? Like, I don't like this feeling. This does not feel good. It does not feel fun and happy and awesome. Like, I'm confused. I don't know what I'm doing. And then, but because of that, that's what everyone addresses as that's that discomfort in you. That's like, you're not comfortable with where you're at and you're about to grow probably. And you can either grow or you can kind of
sit in the suck.
Sit in that. Yeah. And so it depends on the perspective, but like, if you choose to grow, then it turns into something else. Yeah. You know, so that's kind of what happens typically. And like, I think creating, and I don't know what's funny is like, I love painting and it's something I love doing that. I love painting, but I cannot tell you that I'm knowledgeable about art or anything that like pertains to like classic. I didn't go to school for art. I didn't like even really research it. It's just something I love.
Where do you think the value comes in it then? Because obviously you see these art pieces that are millions and millions and millions of dollars, but then like it's a painting. Yeah. And you've painted paintings. Why aren't those worth $1 million or billions of dollars? And objectively, they're both just colors on a canvas. And and they're both aesthetically pleasing to a lot of people. Yeah. So what makes one more valuable than the other?
This is true. And this is like, it goes back into like where you place your value of what you think too. Like, I have a struggle with like when I do commissions, I don't know, typically like a person will tell me what they want, have an idea of it, and I have to kind of like navigate through it a little bit and figure out like, what do I want to paint and what do they want to paint and how can we combine that? Usually it's the case, and sometimes like I'll just paint stuff that is not even my style or things that I think I can do or am good at, and I'll do that because they asked me to do it and it's not hard for me to do, or it's not like I can do that easily. So I'll be like, yeah, that's great. And then there's like different paintings that just take it takes more time to figure out like hold on, what were you I just realized that I'm going to go into like a whole different topic, and I was like, I don't even think this is a question he asked. What did you ask? What was the question initially? Because I just saw myself going into, I just saw that
I'm trying to remember right now.
Hold on.
We were talking about art.
Oh my God.
We were talking about the value of art. Like, why is your painting less valuable than the $1 million painting? That's like, okay, even though they're both aesthetically pleasing to the eye. A lot of people appreciate it. And they're just colors on canvas.
Art is wild how much the price of art is.
I don't get it.
No, I'm not telling you. I even like, honestly, until like probably like 2 years ago, I didn't go to like a museum even. Wow. I wasn't like a museum person. I am now, and it's really cool and I love that. But I'm like,
do you like it because it's what you think other people think that you should like?
Exactly. But it's like, because I tell people that I paint and I'm an artist, there's an association with that of like, oh, you must love these classics and this beautiful like literature and this beautiful art and this beautiful, and I'm like, sometimes I feel like, I'm like, am I an artist? And I would get into that mindset of like, because I just like painting. I don't always have the appreciation and admiration for like other artists, because I'm like, I know what I get inspired by. And I'll save that and I'll like pop it back in and stuff whenever I need like some kind of inspiration. But
well, you were talking about the difference between your painting and like that $1 million painting. You were like, it has to do with the confidence in the person.
But it's still like, it goes back into like, paintings are, I don't know why like price that high, to be honest. I
so you
love
actually
art.
don't, like,
I actually
you're
don't
confused
feel
by
like
it.
no, I actually don't feel like art is something so beautiful, and I love that people create these things, and there's so many different artists that, I mean, I was even talking to my friend today about like I'm trying to think of I know his name's John. I can't think of what his last name is. It starts with an M. But he was talking to me about this famous French painter. And again, silly
Sure.
that I don't know the name. But he was talking about a famous French painter and how he had a very toxic environment that he'd put himself in to create the art that he created. Mm-hmm. He would starve himself for about a week straight to hallucinate. And
fasting does that, for sure.
And the images that he saw once he hallucinated were what he painted, and it looks abstract because it's just these little, like, it's almost like what you would imagine as like specks on your eyes.
Okay.
If you were like, you know, passing out or something, like when you just kind of see those, or hallucinating.
Yeah.
And he would do that to himself to get these images, paint these images while that's happening, and then he'd eat again.
Yeah.
And my friend was just telling me that today, of like, that was like a toxic, we were joking around about like he's also an artist, and
is this like a living person still?
No. This person, he's an artist. This guy that we were talking about,
Okay.
I don't think he's living still. But his
We don't know.
art's
The world won't
very.
know, guys.
We don't know because I don't know his last name, and I'm so sorry. But he just would create these like really terrible environments for himself, and the value of his paintings are insane.
I think it's because of the story,
price.
right?
The story, but this
I
is
feel
the
like
thing.
that story that you just told me right there made me value that idea of that painting even more.
Exactly, because then it's a conversation piece, or then it's something like, oh, you have one of John Bowles' paintings on your wall.
We don't know the last name,
John
guys.
Bowles.
He might be John, maybe not.
That's his last name. Promise. John Bowles. And you would have his painting, and then you're like, oh, this is actually, here's what happened to that and this and that. So I think there's something interesting to that, and I just...
Well, I just get
there's so many
confused
styles.
because, like, just bartending, I've met a lot of cool characters. And some of them is, like, I've met, like, art brokers, like, similar to, like, real estate brokers, that they will travel the world, and they will find pieces for their clients. Yeah. And they would get commission from it. And I've met one, he was like, yeah, I just sold the painting for, like, 1.2 million. I was like, your commission's, like, $250K from that?
Yeah.
I was like, what? From more colors on a canvas.
It's why,
and it confuses me sometimes because I'm just like, why do wealthy people or people with a lot of money store their value in art? And it's probably because they can, or they have nothing else to spend the value on. Yeah. You know, and it makes me confused because it's just objectively, it's colors on a canvas. Absolutely. Or like, I think about it this way too, in terms of my line of work. I'm a personal trainer sometimes, or like half of the day before 10 a.m. And I treat it now more of an art as the ability to help someone else curate their body to what they want it to be. Right. So you're like sculpting their body by the movements that you tell them to do. And there's some trainers out here who charge like $500, $600, $700 an hour. I'm just like, I don't see that value in it. Yeah. But it's really confusing sometimes because, like, me as a personal trainer in college, I was charging at $19 an hour. And sometimes it's like over $100 now. I'm like, but I do have more knowledge and skills than I had before. But, like, what makes the other $800 more valuable than what I have right now? I just don't see. Versus, like, a painting, too. Like, how does this painting worth $800,000 more than the beautiful piece that I painted right now? I think it's kind of the facade of all of it. It's like, it's just the way people's brains work. There's someone that's going to be like, if I'm paying like $600 a session versus $150, this guy must be like really, I'm going to lose weight a lot faster with him probably if he's charging $600. There's something interesting about that. Why doesn't everyone choose $600 then?
One, they don't have it.
No, why doesn't everyone? Oh yeah, it's true.
One, they just don't have it and can't afford it, and you're like, oh, this is what I gotta get.
The customers don't have it. Yes.
The customers wouldn't have it, but like also like you just don't know if that's for certain. There's nothing that's for certain. Like this art, you can like put $1 million into and think that that's gonna be something that's like you're going to wake up to and be like, wow, I have this piece. Maybe you do that one day, and then the rest of the time you're like, I just spent $1 million on this.
You know how many Chipotle burritos that is, guys?
And you're like, what did I do? And there's just like, I've never been like, I don't know. I've always been like a saver. I've always been like pretty frugal. I feel like with
that's a good thing.
Finances. And I always like, it's a stressful thing when it comes to like a conversation about a piece and like what you would charge for something and what this and that, because you have to feel like, okay, where's the value of the effort that I put in versus materials versus the size versus what they want versus myself.
That's
like,
the point that I wanted to get to. I was like, how do you determine the price tag for the art that you put out?
Yes. So from conversation also, because I will kind of I think this is actually an interesting thing. I will like very lowball myself and be like, oh God, I'll do that for this amount, like no problem. And then I'd say that to people and they'd be like, are you joking right now? And I'd be like, no, like, why not? Like, it's just fun. It's fun for me to do. Like, it's something awesome to do. Like, I'm happy to do it. And they'd be like, I hear you. And that's so lovely of you to say. Nice of you. But like, what you do is really good. And like, and that's such a sweet perspective, but it's not a business perspective.
Yeah.
And it's not like you sound like you don't realize your worth or your value in what you do.
Sure.
And I would be told that sometimes. And I was like, well, like, no, I think like I'm good. Like, I think I know what I'm doing. I know how to paint. I know what to do. But like, why would I charge someone that? That's so mean. That's too much. Like, they're so nice.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be very, I get so personal about like, oh no, they're a nice person. I'll just charge them, this much less.
It's weird because like it
and
feels
I'm
like play sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? So like,
like
I feel the same way too about like training.
Yeah.
Like I have this, I guess that's a lot of my imagination. It's like, how can I work out these muscles in a way that is one, engaging, but also make it a game, but also do it in a way that they have never experienced before.
And
right?
it's specific to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Specific to who they are, their body size, their body type, how tall they are, whatever.
Yeah.
And like, I'll just play a game in my head of like, what is the coolest workout that's best for them and this and that, and I'll write it. And then they're like, oh, like how much for this program or how much do you want for the session? And to me, a lot of the time it's like, I don't know what to charge too.
Yeah.
It's because like at the end of the day, I was like, regardless, if money didn't matter, I would still do this for you.
Yeah.
Or for example, I don't know, for you, if money didn't matter in the world, like if someone asked you for a painting, wouldn't you be like, yeah, I'd love to do that for you?
Yeah.
Regardless,
Yeah, absolutely.
And just because of the like supply demand of the world and the needs of like the human being, you're like, oh yeah, we're gonna choose this random price.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, it's like, oh God, I'm sorry.
You're good.
That's the thing. Chaotic.
Kaleina's doing all right, guys.
We're just taking a whole set with her. I feel like that's it's hard because I'm like, art was never something I thought it would collect dust in my closet. Like I thought like I was just painting for myself until someone was like,
this is dope.
Oh, this is good. I'd like to have this. And I'm like, you want to have this? So I was like, they're like, yeah, how much? And I'm like, I don't know. Give me $50.
That
and
probably
it was
felt
like
$1 million.
Yeah,
though.
And it of course it
That's
did.
like 2 lunches,
I was like,
bro.
take this $50, and I was like, oh my God, I just made $50
by something that I just did for fun.
By something that I did for fun and something that I just enjoyed doing.
What
Someone
was your
wanted
first
it.
piece that you sold?
My first piece.
And what did it feel like?
I think I know what it is, but maybe I'm wrong.
Kaleina sold so many pieces, guys, that she doesn't know what her first piece is.
We are sold out.
Sold out, baby.
What
do
my
you think it is?
first piece, I think, was my. I want to say it's I painted a lot for my family. My brother has like one of my first pieces that I did for him, and like my dad has like my family has like my actual first pieces, and then I think the first piece I sold. Oh no, I actually know. Oh, it's not what I thought. Oh my God. I sold my first piece to someone I had actually met in acting class.
Okay.
He was a very fascinating person. He was actually an investment banker.
Okay. Let's go investment banker, acting class.
Yeah, exactly. But this is the thing that's always interesting to me. You don't know who you're going to meet in acting class, and people are just like, I want to see what this is about. No, he was very talented, very good. Did theater in school. He was older, and he had a lot of experience, but was an investment banker. And I was like, this is so odd. And he was one of the first people I had met in LA in class, and I had been starting to paint at the time. It was not the style that I have now by any means. It was totally different. I had no idea what I was doing or what I even liked.
How did
painting.
he see this painting?
I showed him stuff. He was like, what are you up to? Like we'd all get pizza after class and things. And yeah, it was a fun community, I would say. And like, I felt very like comfortable being like, I'm working on this painting and, you know, like, oh, this is something I like to do in my spare time. And I showed him some stuff, and it was things that I had just been working on. And he was like, I'd love to buy this for my apartment. I would love to have this. And I'm like, it was that conversation. I'm like, oh, well, for money, like, you don't just, I'll give it to you.
What did that feel like?
It was amazing. It was the first time that I was like, people, it's not just me seeing my art. I've decided to share it with people, which I think is important, even if it would, like, this was before I was really, like, this was in 2014. It wasn't, like, super Instagram-y or, like, anything that you would, like, really self-promote online. Yeah. So it was just, like, conversation and being like, I actually paint, and I'm, like, okay to say that to you, and I feel like I don't know what I'm doing, but I feel like confident to let you know that like that's something I like doing. Yeah. And then that would spark conversation of being like, well, show me, I would love to see this. And then you show the person and they're like, this is amazing, I love this. And that's not always the case. It might not be their style or anything, that they're like, that's so awesome that you do this, that's really cool. But he really loved it at the time, and like he bought actually 4 of my pieces. And
let's go.
I feel like my apartment was his like gallery almost. Yeah. Like he brought like my only pieces I had, and it was amazing, and I sold it for like.
What was that feeling like?
It was very exciting. I felt very successful. I felt very like, maybe this is what I'm here to do. You know, maybe
Isn't
this is it.
Isn't it such a crazy thing that you get to do, though? Because, like, there's so many places in the world where, like, you don't have the luxury of just being able to paint and, like, selling it.
Obviously.
You know?
Oh, my God.
Like,
it's ridiculous.
Just because, like, LA's hard sometimes, you know? And, like, there's the starving artist scenario. And,
oh, my
like,
God. My heart is not hard. It's not a difficult thing for, like, people. If we're going to go across if we're not going to talk about LA, God, then it's nothing, you know? Yeah. Like, wild. So many other places. It's you would never have the luxury of being creative.
No.
Absolutely.
And it's so cool to, like, our problems are problems that are such a gift, I guess.
Yeah. I would love to. That would be something that it's something I had been thinking about, like, if I, like, just from a life of, like, if I wanted to continue, like, completely pursuing art, what I want it to look like. And I would love to, like, travel and teach, like, just have this, like, whether it's a class or something that like would just be like, or something. God, something that would just, like, kind of be light and fun and, like, amazing, like, just something, like, fun. Yeah. it's something like whether it's like kids or at a retirement home.
Ooh.
You know,
I could see Kaleina in a retirement home.
I just think it would be
Guys,
like,
this is how you paint the brush.
be like, Alan, hold it steady. Just paint this way. And it's like, I did
your
work.
oxygen tank closer, please.
I did it very briefly. Very briefly. Yeah.
That's cool.
It's very hard though with like older people. I feel I get so attached to, or I'd be very like, it's a hard. I feel like it's a difficult. It was harder for me at the time.
No.
To go into class and if someone's not there, or something, like it gets very morbid and very difficult. And I don't know how people do it. There's like,
she meant someone might have died, guys, by the way.
Someone might have died. They weren't in class that day. And they died. Yes.
All right, switch subjects real quick.
Anyway.
Where do you think ideas come from?
Ideas. Where do I think ideas come from?
I'll give you a little preface to that.
Okay.
So Rick Rubin talked about in the book that, as well as Elizabeth Gilbert, the person who wrote Eat, Pray, Love, but also she talks about it in her book, Big Magic.
Big Magic. I have Big Magic.
Okay,
yeah,
so
I was
good.
going to say, okay.
And both those books, Rick Rubin and Elizabeth Gilbert, talk about how, like, ideas aren't your own, right? They'll come and, like, you'd either grab it and decide to do it, or it will, like, float off to someone else and someone else will grab it and do it.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth Gilbert gives the example of how she wrote a book, but she never made it to fruition. And there's this other lady who produced a book, and it was the exact same storyline, but with different names and this and that, blah, blah. And it was like, whoa. And Rick Rubin gives a few examples as well. What do you think about that, and where do you think ideas come from?
I do think I always like, I liked Big Magic, like I liked the book, but I really liked that was the main perspective that I grasped from all of it, was like, ideas, I do think, come to you. Imagine if they were something tangible that actually did just float to you. And if that was something physically that you saw, you would be like, oh God, yeah, sorry guys, I can't do this tonight. I have this idea. I gotta get this down on this. If this was like a thing that you grabbed and put down and you were like, I can't hang out tonight. I can't do something that's going to distract me. I have to get this idea down. We choose that sometimes, and we don't a lot of the time, I think.
Most of the time.
Yeah. So, but if you saw it in person, if it was like something tangible, if it was something that was actually like you could see it in front of you, you would choose it more often.
Yeah.
But because we do just be like, oh, I have an idea. Oh, interesting. Maybe I'll jot it down really quick on my notes app, or I'll let it go. And you let it go, I think, a lot to someone else. And it just depends on how disciplined you are.
Yeah.
So I think like you have to be disciplined to accept ideas almost, because there is more responsibility to that. Because
That's an interesting perspective.
Well, if I decide to like, this idea comes to me and I'm like, okay, I can let this go and just go out with my friends right now and forget about this, or I can choose to sit down and write this down and flesh it out a little bit and see what just happened.
What comes out of it. Yeah.
But you will choose a lot of the time, I think, to distract yourself and do something that feels easier, if that makes sense.
Just because it's easier.
Just because it's easier. It's there physically. You can see it. Like, I don't know.
I also think taking action on ideas is hard because you're making something out of nothing. You're making something out of this thought that you've had in your brain.
Yeah.
Right? I started doing this. I would take a sticky notepad or wherever, and whatever I would think about, like a comedic bit or like a podcast idea or like any type of idea, I write it down to stick it anywhere.
Yeah.
So I'd be in my car, I'm like,
that's me.
What the fuck is this shit?
Like a maniac lives here. Yeah.
Just because like you thought about it and you don't even remember. I don't even remember them sometimes.
Yeah.
Like I'll be like, I thought that, I wrote that down and I put it there.
Yeah.
It already left and someone probably already picked it up.
It's true.
You know?
It's true. And that's the thing, is that it like passes on. There's something cool about that it might pass on from person to person to person who just lets it go and lets it go and lets it go until someone grabs it and they're like, I'm going to sit down and work on this.
Yeah.
I'm going to think about this. I
What's
love
made you
thinking
do
of
that?
ideas
What's
like that.
made you like sit down, grab it, and take action on it and make it turn into a fruition?
I feel it in my body if it's something that I feel
What
like.
do you mean by that?
It's just weird. Like I'll get very excited. Like I'll legit feel like I'm about to go on a run.
Yeah.
There's like this like kind of like this sounds so stupid, but I was thinking about this today. I was listening to like a song and I was like imagining I've been playing drums lately.
Let's go. Come on, drums.
And I
Let's
I
go.
love drums.
I want to hear you play drums. Can I hear you play drums? One time. Oh, that was pretty good right there.
Amazing. She's so talented.
So talented, guys.
But like drums have always been something that I've wanted to like learn and be really good at.
Okay.
And I'm not really good at it yet, but I'm learning it. And I felt good enough to like post a video at one point, like weeks ago, that I felt like okay of being like.
Not on the grid yet, guys. I was looking.
It was on the grid.
It was?
You didn't look good enough.
Wow.
It was there. It's there. It's there. It's brief, but it's there.
Okay.
And I love, so like, to me, God, I don't even know where I was getting at. I went on this tangent now about drums. I feel like, where were we at before that?
We were talking about art. We were talking about...
There was something specifically that led me to say why I started learning drums.
We were talking about... This is going to bug me.
What were we just... Damn. God, roll back the tapes.
What were we talking about?
Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm going to talk about drums now, I guess.
Talk about drums.
No, we're going to talk about drums. I started learning drums, and I feel like this is going to come to me at some point of like why I would talk about this. We were talking about ideas.
Yeah, how they come to you and how they like someone else can pick them up.
Oh no, adrenaline in the car. Okay, hold on. This doesn't make any sense, but just follow through.
Stay with us, guys.
Yeah, stay with us. So I would be in the car and I was listening to like a song. It was a song by Paramore. And it would get me, so I love Paramore.
We love Paramore.
And I was listening to it, and I would love to be at the level where I could play like a Paramore song on drums.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. Definitely not. But
we're getting there, guys.
We're getting there. I'm so excited too to see like the actual progress of like doing stuff that I have always wanted to do.
So you get you were saying you get so excited.
I get very excited in the car of like
when you get your ideas. That's what you're talking about.
So my ideas are like, for me, I was like, oh, like I was seeing even parts of myself that I would get excited about, and I'm like, oh my God, I want to be this person that plays the drums, this person that can do a flip, this person that can do this person that can do that. And I would almost like how you did when you were a kid, at least I did. When I would hear music, sometimes you'd play like these like trailers in your head, like movie trailers, you know? Like you'd put all these visuals to the song you were listening to. Cool. You didn't, like when you would listen to like a song, you weren't like, you didn't go in like this. God, I was I sound such like an artsy freaking kid.
But like, that's true.
That's so
when
funny.
you talk about painting though, it's like interesting. It seems a lot more calculated and you do your research for it.
Yeah.
And like there's the Mozarts of the world who like don't learn how to play piano, they just play.
Yeah.
Or like they see, I don't know if you watch like August Rush, right? He just plays the guitar, or like someone just paints, someone just sings. No one taught them how to like hit that perfect pitch.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, there's so many levels of art to understand if you want to, because there's the type of art that people just play, there's the type of art that do the research and make something beautiful, because just because it's not just play, it doesn't mean it's not art.
Absolutely.
You know,
and it depends on the thing, because like for instance, the last thing that I painted was like this it was on a black canvas again, and it was like fish.
We love the black canvas.
It was a coral.
Guys.
It's a black the black canvas thing is like, I love it honestly, because I love colors and I love like seeing things that I don't know, it's hard because like on a white canvas you're shading, on a black canvas you're highlighting. So to me, so on a white canvas you're shading, and on a black canvas you're highlighting.
Highlighting in what way?
In highlighting like just colors and stuff, you have to be more, I have to be, if it's black, I'm monitoring like what is being highlighted. If I was painting like someone's face, there's going to be parts of your face that I have to highlight. And on a white canvas, I have to focus on shading and the parts of your face that I would have to shade. So it's like just a different part of your brain that you almost have to like work on. It's completely reverse, yes.
Yeah.
And that you have to work on a black canvas, and I like that. I think that's kind of fun.
You're like, I'm different.
yeah, I'm different. Check this out. I can do this in reverse.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's more, I like seeing the highlights more. That's always been something that was more fun for me than shading. Even in sketching and everything.
Yeah.
So, because you couldn't, if I was just looking at a notebook and everything, usually most notebooks are on white paper. So you would always adapt to, I love yellow or white paper, whatever it is. It's not like, it's just like, there were only like a few, it was like watercolor black canvas, or like, there were some sketchbooks that were like, in black, but those ones were also it's funny because like there's not like a typical sketchbook that if I wanted to take it to school with me, I couldn't draw on a black piece of paper.
Sure.
And I actually really like,
maybe pencil. That's the only thing that you could probably do it with.
well, you can do it, but it's on a white piece of paper, so you're shading.
Okay, yeah.
That's still like I just mean like your perspective is shading, like the outline of your face. It's everything that's shaded. Whereas like on the black canvas, I'm highlighting everything.
I find art so fascinating. I took one art class in 6th grade. Yeah. And it was an elective. And I went to Catholic school.
Okay.
So they were like, draw Jesus dead on the cross with like a two apostles.
I'm aware. I know.
Sick. And like mine was like a stick figure of like Jesus on a cross, and it was so bad. And then I looked over, and this dude drew like something that would be in like St. Peter's Basilica.
Oh
like,
my God.
I was tearing up like how beautiful it looked like, and I was just like, wow.
You're like, but I don't want to stand up right now. No one look at this.
Exactly. I was like, my art doesn't make me feel this way as this guy's. Yeah. It's so crazy because like you're creating something with your bare hands. Yeah. And you're just putting like images on paper through just like a freehand.
Well, that's what I was getting at too. The what I was coming back to without like the whole black canvas. I've been working on another black canvas, and I made a coral reef kind of thing, and it was a bunch of fish, and it was abstract looking to me. This was actually something I didn't know what I was doing. I had one day to do it, and I was doing an art show the next day, and I was like, you know what's gonna make me feel really good is if I'm putting something new into this art show, because I know like news, like a perspective thing, like it's new to everyone that comes there, all my art, but to me it wasn't. So I was like, it would be fun for me to showcase something that felt new to me. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna make something tonight. Yeah. And I did, and I spent like 6 hours making something that night, and it was really fun for me, and it was very I wasn't concerned with what I was gonna make. I just knew, like, I was like, I have to, doing this show, I have to make something new. It's gonna make me feel so good if I do.
Do flow states exist in that like state, like when you're doing that for 6 hours?
Absolutely.
Because like a lot of people can't pay attention for 20 minutes.
Absolutely. No, it depends on the music you put on. I think it depends on like your process and stuff. Like I do that, but I'll also like, I don't feel like
6 hours is a long time to me.
6 hours is a long time, but I go into like the night. Like I started at like 8 o'clock.
Okay.
And I just kind of kept going. The music kept playing. I was drinking wine.
Like
I was having fun. And there's like, it's not to say that I don't take breaks. Like I would go like sit on the couch and go on my phone for a little bit.
You don't lock it in a cookie jar?
It would be good. That's so crazy, honestly.
It sounds crazy that I said that, right?
It's amazing.
It's weird.
It's amazing. Weird. But it shows like exactly how long you can go without a phone to be like itching almost to like try to open the cookie jar and be
I've listened to so many like self-help like YouTube videos and stuff. I'm just like, a sign of like some negative thing is like you panic when you don't feel your phone in your pocket. And there's a few times that I'm just like, where's my phone? Yeah. I'm like, why do I have that feeling, dude?
It depends on where I am. Yeah. If I'm somewhere that like I know I need it, then
you need it everywhere. Technically, I can't get around LA without my phone.
I feel like I could get around decently in LA without my phone, because I have before. Like, my phone has just not been around, like it was dead or something happened to it that I was phoneless, and I was like, I have to still get somewhere.
Like, I'm not confident to get to like the Staples Center.
Really?
Zero.
Well, not downtown. Downtown is like an enigma, I feel like, on its own. So I won't say downtown. Depends.
I could definitely get to.
Yeah, where do you feel confidently about being able to get to?
Like West Side. That's it.
Okay. Because you just hop on the 101. It's like the Californian skit of, like, on SNL where they're like, you get on the 405 to the 101.
Yes.
You take the 310 down or something.
And anyone who lives in LA will understand that skit. And the only reason
funny.
why I know that is because, like, all the people who I went to UCLA with, they're like, yeah, this is what I thought LA was when I saw this SNL skit.
Yeah, it's true, because I've caught myself saying it. It was a long time ago, but I've caught myself saying it to people and being like, oh, you know, oh God, you just have to hop on the 101 to the 405, and then you get off on Santa Monica, the I-10. Yeah. You just hop on over there, and you're like right there. It's like 20 minutes.
That was pretty accurate. That was definitely accurate.
20 minutes tops.
I think I'm watching this SNL skit right now.
I happen to be on it. I wish. SNL is awesome. I loved SNL. Like, it's different now. Like, everyone's. What does comedy do for
you? What does laughter do for you?
Laughter is my number one. It's actually, I've recently discovered, laughing is what I value
Kaleina's
most.
Making a nail.
Laughing. Interesting. Laugh is a raft.
Laughed is raft.
Laughing. Anyway, laughing is just a number one priority for me, actually, which sounds like, to me, if I can laugh with someone, and if someone has the same sense of humor. Or something that just, like, it makes things feel easy, and it makes, like, anytime I'm having a rough time or going through something that's difficult, if you can, like, combat it with laughing and making me laugh or doing something like that, that is the utmost importance to me, honestly. Because I can get myself out of anything if I can find something funny about it or something to laugh about it, because it makes it light. So, like, to me, I always just think that it's not just like, oh, haha, funny, like, this is great to, like, laugh a little bit and feel good. Like, if, like, laughter is truly, like, the best medicine.
100%.
It really is. And if you can find,
and working out are the two things.
Yeah, I agree. Agreed. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Full force behind that. And I think that those are, like, very important things to me. Like, I felt silly, like, writing this down of, like, what do I value in a person, and what makes me feel really good. Why did you want to think about that idea of, like, what makes me value a person? Just coming into more of, like, meeting a lot of, like, new people and new friendships and relationships and people, like, just that you encounter in your life. Like what does that question have to do? Because I've been thinking about, like, what makes a good friend. Yeah, my best friend and I don't stop laughing. You know what I mean? And we're always gonna be, like, we make jokes about, like, being these people, like, these old ladies that are still gonna be laughing and doing ridiculous things. There is something that makes me just, like, so warm thinking about that. And, like, if you can laugh with a person the rest of your life, friendship, family, relationship, if you can find that, that's amazing. No, there's not. Like, laughing is seriously, like, I thought it was, like, silly, like, because you associate it with, like, oh, comedians, it's fun to laugh, like, I love a good comedy, you know, whatever. But if you think of the actual value of what it feels like to laugh, and for someone to make you laugh and to feel understood in that way, it's my favorite thing. So I feel like, and it's very powerful. And I think, like, I've noticed that if there's any time when things are, like, in a negative direction or I'm feeling down or something bad happens, if I can laugh about it, and I can't do that on my own all the time, but if I'm with someone, if I'm with someone that can make me laugh, boom, I'm out of that mood and I see
Quickly.
something positive and
Yeah.
I see things better. So I'm like, that laughing and being able to like give that to someone is like number one.
When I first
Maybe
moved,
number two.
maybe
But
number
like,
two.
I mean, maybe there's other more important things,
up
but
there.
like,
It's
I
up there.
love
It's up there.
laughing.
When I moved to LA, I think the
Yeah.
first 2 years were like real tough. It was like dark.
Yeah.
And I went to the Comedy Store for the first time, and like I laughed my face off for like 6 hours straight.
Yeah.
And the next day, my cheeks were sore from being like cramped up like the night before.
Yeah.
And my depressive state like was turned around 180 quickly. I was like, if you could laugh for 6 hours straight, like there's just something about you laughing and being intrigued by whatever you're paying attention to, if it's a friend or a comedy show or whatever.
Yeah.
That like it does something to your body and does something to your emotions.
Absolutely.
And that is without a therapist. That is without moving your body. That is just like pure joy of like you can't really describe laughing because
Yeah.
like you're just making sounds and you see teeth.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah, it's true.
You know?
Yeah, that's so weird.
And
to think
it's
about, but
joyous
it's
because that's what
actually-
you just associate it as.
Yeah.
You know? But it's doing something to you physically. Mm-hmm. You know, like you have this feeling now of not a depressive state.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's that brief moment, and however long it lasts is how long it lasts.
How long
But
it
it's
lasts.
like, it's very, I just think it's such
Just
a
ride it.
powerful, yeah, it's like, it's really powerful, and it's really like, I feel like we don't notice it as much, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's something that I'll notice in a person is like a sense of humor and like how, what can I say? What can I say?
Yeah.
What are they going to understand? What am I going to understand?
Yeah.
Like, there's an interesting dynamic, and yeah, it seems like kind of a silly value in comparison to like other things, but it's something I really value.
Oh.
So that would be mine. I don't know what the question was, but
We're talking about laughter.
that's what I answered with.
What are you most excited
Yeah.
for in your life right now?
Well, I'm actually very excited. I think this is the most I've ever felt so much like growth from myself, and like
In what way?
That's so many different ways.
What's
That's the
up?
thing. I think that I think I've grown a lot with creatively and with art. I think I've grown a lot in discipline. I think I've grown a lot in perspective, and I just feel very good about that aspect of like also adapting to different parts. I've had so many different things happen to me this year,
Yeah.
and finding how to adapt to them.
2023 year of growth.
Yeah, it's seriously. Didn't we say? Is that what like everyone was saying was
Was
gonna
it?
happen?
I
I
don't
don't know.
know.
I thought it was like the end of the year. Everyone was like the year of growth,
My
or like
association
something
with time
like.
is so bad. Like I really feel
God.
like 2020 was yesterday, but it's been 3 years now.
It's been 3 years.
You
It's
know?
wild.
Like 2020 will be a year that we'll forever remember.
Yeah.
Like you'd go in a grocery
Yeah.
store and like people wouldn't be right next to you. We wouldn't be having this conversation right now. Mm-hmm. You know, like everyone was hiding.
Not without a mask.
Yeah, not without a mask.
Yeah.
You know, and like it's such a funny time because like that happened so long ago and the world was so different. Like you had to walk into a bar with a vaccine passport. Mm-hmm. You couldn't
Yeah, it's true.
you couldn't fly without a
It's
mask and a
true.
vaccine
Yeah.
like card. You know, it's
Very
so
true.
It's crazy.
It is wild.
It's
We
like-
experience something so different that we may or may not, hopefully, not experience again. But
Hopefully not.
yeah, I don't know. We lived through something interesting.
It's weird. Like I went into
We came out of
Walgreens. I
it.
went to Walgreens the other day, and there was the voiceover saying like, "Get your 5th booster. It will protect you for your sickness."
Well, what's funny is it's like a few years have passed and we've completely forgotten about it in a way too.
Yeah.
You know, like it's something, because I think also like it was so much to deal with
It's a lot.
and like feel, and like it was terrifying. We've put it so far behind us, but
How was
I
your
had
2020? Was it okay?
my 2020, it was honestly, it was, I hope it's not like shitty saying this,
It was
but I
dope.
had a fine year. I was good. I had a good year, and I thankfully didn't lose like anyone important
close
to
to you,
me, and I
yeah.
know that's like a big, to me, like I know people that did, not to undermine any of that, because I can't imagine, but I didn't, and I had a nice year, and I learned a lot about myself.
Yeah.
And it is actually the time that I developed my style of art.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, I didn't know what direction I wanted to take things in. I took an online course during COVID of an institute that I really loved. It's the Milan Institute.
Oh, come on.
I always felt very inspired seeing all their work, and they held like a seminar for 3 days online.
Yeah.
And I did that. And after that, I was like, I learned so much. I had never taken I didn't realize until then that I had never taken a class before.
Like an art class.
And I was doing things, didn't know what I was doing, or how I wanted to do things.
You were just throwing darts, not necessarily at a dartboard.
We're like, boop, boop, maybe I'll get, that one kind of got close, maybe, to something.
What advice do you have to like someone who thinks that they're artistic, but they don't know how to develop it,
or like do anything about it?
Maybe it's like this girl who wants to be an actress or play this role, but has no clue even like how to start, or like someone who like has a desire has this thing in his brain and wants to put it on the canvas, but like where do I start? Like, what do you have to tell them?
I think two different things. With art, I really think that anyone can be an artist. I really think, like, look, if you look at everything around the world of like what is art and what sells and what this and that, like anything can be art. You could be finger painting, like anything could be art. Like it doesn't, that's not like, don't ever be like, to me, every time people are saying like, I don't think I can do this, or like, oh no, I don't know how to do this or that. I don't also know how to do things. It's just something that like you are figuring out as you go. And to say that to a person, even if someone said that to me, I'd be like, okay.
Well, that's so humanizing too, because like someone to look at your artistry, they'd be like, oh, she knows everything about art. Some people might say that, right?
Yeah.
Some people who don't know anything about art might say that. They're like, whoa.
Yeah,
like, I could learn so much from her. But
I don't know what I'm doing.
I get that because a lot of people hit me up about starting a podcast. I'm like, dude, all you do is get a recorder, a camera, and you press record. Yeah. And then you put it on the internet for people to hear.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, it's not that deep.
And you're just kind of like, fingers crossed, I hope some magic happens. Yeah. And that's like, it may or may not, but when it does, it does.
Well, the biggest thing was documenting it, right? So it's similar to your paintings in the sense of like, you have something and you just want to put it in the world. Yeah. And I would have these conversations with people like every day, like if they were professors, if they were friends, if they were dentists, if they were whatever. And I'd have these really dope conversations. And I'd be like, I wish I could listen to that, Yeah. And then I just started recording and then putting them into the world. And now I do. It's like, hey, if I want to hear about Kaleina describing her art pieces, I could just go back and
it's like a voice memo.
Voice memo.
But everyone knows that you're like recording.
Yeah, and like
it's not like you're like, I want to remember this conversation and you put it in your pocket.
What's being on camera like?
Being on camera is fun.
Fun in what way?
I think
like how does it feel to have like main character vibes? Because if someone's paying attention to you, these camera people are paying attention to you. The
yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Be like, this is your scene,
like the center of attention for that one sentence, for that paragraph, for that whole story. I feel very usually if it's like something, just usually with things that I've done, I feel very excited to perform what I have worked on. And I feel like that's kind of like what you get out of class and what you get out of being on set is like, I feel very excited usually to just be like, I can't wait to show you what I've been working on. Like, this is fun. So you kind of feel like a kid in school or something. I don't know, but if that's like the only thing I could relate it to. It's like show and tell.
Yeah, and it seems like, and it's like, maybe that's vain, and maybe that's like, there's something to that would be, I mean, it's acting. I don't love watching myself, that's for sure.
I feel like that's everybody, though. I feel
Yeah.
like everyone doesn't think that their work is the best work.
But I do love giving this perspective. I do love like giving perspective or performing or whatever that would be called. Like, I do think that it's so fun because I almost feel like I like, if it's something good and I'm excited about, I'll just like black out almost and be like, I don't know what I just did. But I hope it was good. And then someone's like, that was really cool. That was really interesting. And I'm like, I'm so happy that that's what you saw.
You feel that way.
Because I don't know what I did.
Yeah.
It goes back into like, I don't know. I don't know what I did. It's a release of like the control and things
that's the whole
too.
thing with like Bob Dylan doesn't remember a lot of the songs he's wrote.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Yeah.
he just spit out art into the world, but he doesn't remember it.
Yeah.
Like,
And you see what sticks.
yeah.
Sometimes people do remember it. Sometimes they don't. It's just like, it's catching those ideas constantly that we were talking about and riding them out and seeing what happens with them and being okay with it being like not something that happens or not something that anyone's like, love that or gets approval or validation for.
Have you
know?
learned to like not care about other people's validation towards your work or your art pieces?
No, I haven't learned that yet. I will still care, and so I'm not gonna say that I don't care what people think, because I think I haven't gotten to that point yet in my life. I think there's gonna be a point for that.
Do you think you need to? Do you think artists need to?
No, I don't think you need to. I think you just I think you need to learn how to not. I think that's a whole process, and I don't care necessarily like, I think I'll care more what people think of my performance acting than I will care if people like my art.
Yeah.
I like my art, and I actually, I guess I would say it just depends on what the like medium of this is, if it's art or acting or writing.
Yeah. Because it's probably different.
Yeah. So I guess like painting, I'm excited to show people, but I don't typically care. Like, I think there's so many different styles of art that I don't expect anyone. It's an expectation thing. I don't expect anyone to like it. I think art is really anything that you create from your mind. Any idea that you create that you can put on something is art to me. So it is just complete imagination, like tangible imagination, I guess I would say.
That's physical.
Yeah.
That you've put into the world physically.
Yeah. Anything that could become something that someone could hold and touch and hang up and or watch or see. Like, to me, like it's whatever is in your mind, because you can't see that.
What are some of your favorite pieces of art that are not your own?
That's a good question. I have it's interesting because I didn't study art, and I didn't study like these classics and these legendary painters. I'm not actually too familiar. Like, I know who each person is, but I'm not like familiar with loving their work. Like, it is more contemporary artists, it's more modern artists that I would like gravitate towards. Yeah. And it's not to say that, like, obviously it's all derived from something. Like, everything is a copy of something else and something else.
Same
truly
thing with like musics or films or anything like that.
Nothing is technically, like, to me, like, I'm okay with saying this, but nothing's original. Like, nothing I make is going to be original because it's from something. Like, it's original from me. That's cool. Sure. But it's like, it's not going to be original in a whole sense of the entire world.
Yeah.
There's going to be something that probably looks like it. Yeah. You know, so that's fine. But it's like, I'm not always striving to be like the number one original. No one has ever done this before. Most of the things I will probably do in my life, someone has done in the existence of humans. Sure. Like, it's not, I don't expect to like be that, but I think creating something, I don't know, something original is exciting. I don't know where I was going with this. I feel like I realized I went on a tangent again.
You're good. Don't apologize. People love tangents.
This is how it is talking to me.
No, it's solid. It's good. It's tangents are a funny thing because they're where the mind gravitates towards for someone who is talking about that subject. You know, it's like if you say a tangent about something, it's something that you really think about of that topic. Yeah. And it's cool to go down that rabbit hole sometimes, but you gotta bring it my brain will keep going and keep going and keep going, and then I'm like, and then ultimately I'm like, I don't know where I came from and why we're here right now. But that's one thing I love about long conversation, because a lot of people day to day, like, how are you? Yeah. What are you up to? Cool, sick. All right, on to the next. You know? Yeah. So you don't get to dive deep into like someone's like, when I asked you, like, what are you most excited for in your life? Like, I asked that a lot at the bar. And some people will say, like, oh, my kid's coming into town. I'm so excited. Aww. Oh, like, I'm going to Costa Rica this weekend. Oh, I just had this, like, first date the other day. It was so sick. I'm like, oh, you're into someone's life right away. You know, and for you telling me that you're excited about all these, like, new things that are going on in your life and, like, all the growth and stuff in this last year, I was like, oh, that's sick. Like, I'm excited for you, too. Like, you're transported into like someone else's just bell curve of like on the up. Yeah, I yes. In that time. Yeah. In that mindset, because like there could be shitty things going on in your life, but what are you most excited for? It could be like, I get to go home and see my dog. Yeah. You know, like, oh, like, what type of dog do you got? That's so sick. You can tell me. Let me know. Simple. There's the simple things. That's the thing too. It's like success, like we were talking about earlier. It's not linear. It's not like what makes you feel successful, happy, what makes you feel like just all the good things. It's not, I don't know, it goes in a lot of different directions. Yeah. It's not something that's like going to be day to day. Like, it's nice to keep it simple. Yeah. It's nice to be like, that's what makes me happy. That's 100%. It. You know? And speaking of that, talking about your work and your art, there was this quote that I read the other day that your work works on you more than you work on it. Interesting. How do you think about that? Your work works on you more than you work on it. Yes. Huh. I think that that's true, because I think that that's this will go back into the topic of ideas and things that like whatever inspires me to paint, to write, to act, to work on something, to whatever motivates me in any way, like that is working on me then technically, you know, like whatever is I'm finding inspiration from is something that I would say then, instead of me completing something or making something, it's something that like makes me, and then I am prompted to make it. That's kind of like what the quote would be then, is like something coming to you, to me, I guess is what I'm interpreting. Working on you then. Yeah, it's something coming to me, working on me, making me who I want to be, or like what I want to do, and then projecting that and bringing that to someone. That would be exactly it. 100%. I think people can constantly produce stuff and like put stuff out there, but I don't think that they know what they're doing sometimes. Like they're just kind of like, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine. But you're not like letting something really come to you and really hit you. Yeah. You know? Well, do you have to, back to the advice part about just like being in LA? Yeah. Like there's so many people who want to move here because they see all these cool things. Yeah. And they see the actors of the world, they see the artists of the world, and they see all these big industries here. Yeah. And they don't know if they should or they shouldn't. Like, what do you tell them? I think, I'll always say that I think you should. Okay. I'll always say that you should, because I think that whether it's a week out here or experiencing a few months or like a year, like you're gonna experience something. So I think that if you are curious about something, chase it. Yeah, see what it's about. See why you're curious, because I don't think that we're just curious for no reason. There's something obviously that's there, because whatever's there for me might not be for you, and whatever's there for you might not be for me. Oh God. And so I feel like Kaleina might have the record of hitting the mic the most times. Bam, bam, bam.
just rip it off and just
ripping
eat it. So, I'm sick of this thing. And sorry anyone listening.
I apologize.
What was I saying?
Chasing curiosity is about like if you want to come out here.
Yes, chasing curiosity for coming out here. Thank you. Look, this is literally, you need to, if we could have something written out, I would go with it. But I'm like, wow, my brain, please reel me back in.
We'll close soon. How was working with Bruce Willis on Fortress?
Oh, you had to do research.
A little bit.
That's funny. It was, working with Bruce Willis was actually a very wild story.
Yeah.
It was in 2021, which was interesting that I was even working at that time because there was beautiful, still COVID, still very, I had a mask on set. It was my first day on set. I was completely covered in mask and, I went to set. You couldn't like see me. Like I was in like my full getup, which was like just this like giant suit thing. I was like, I worked at this like underground system, and it was just I don't know.
What do you mean by underground system?
Like it was what's it called? God, what's it called? I can't think of the term for it, but I would like what it would be like working like the CIA or like the we were the underground. It was like, I don't know, underground communication, whatever. Okay. And like to all of the things that were going like Area 51, you know, type of like that kind of stuff. We were the communication that they had. And anyway, that was like the role that I played in that. And all right, we're going back to Bruce Willis. So my first day on set, when I was in Puerto Rico for this movie.
That's sick.
Yeah, amazing. It was so cool. It was my first time in Puerto Rico too, and it was amazing because like it was when we talk about going and doing things alone, I was wandering around like I was just wandering around this city sometimes like of like, oh, what restaurants open, what bars open, let me go see like on my time off like what I can go see and do. And it was really so much fun. I love going new places by myself, honestly. It was very interesting. Anyway, on set, first day, it was Bruce Willis was doing a scene, and he had stopped the scene, and I was leaning up against the wall watching him. So I was like, oh my God, like I get to watch Bruce Willis right now. This is crazy. I'm so happy to be here.
Were you like, this is so cool?
Yeah. Oh my God. I was just like, that's why I showed up. Like it wasn't my scene or anything. I was just like, I wanted to come to set just to watch and like be like, wow, what can I learn? What can I see? What can I do? Like what amazing. I was leaning up against the wall and he had stopped the scene and he came over and like, the director was confused, like everyone, like everything was just like, all right, cut. And he came over and he like stood by me on the wall and I was like, hi, what's going on? And he's like, hi, how are you? And I was like, hello. And I was terrified because I thought I was going to get fired. I was like, oh my God, like they're stopping. Like, I don't know why he's talking to me right now. This is wild. And it was really interesting. He was talking to me for a little bit. The director was just like, go, whatever he says, do, you know, like go talk to him. And we were like, all right. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go. And he's like, let's go for a walk. And we walked down the hallway and his bodyguard's behind him, like his whole team's like with him and everything. And the conversation was just very like interesting and odd. It didn't make sense to me, and it's very, this is not like it's very sad because of like, obviously everyone knows kind of now the state that he's in and that I believe it's dementia, right?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Dementia. It's a form of dementia. I don't think it's completely dementia. It's something else. Along those lines. But I didn't know that at the time, obviously going to set. And he's struggled with this for years. It's so sad that he was even working, honestly, because although it's wonderful that he was still like living, hopefully, the life that he wants to live. Like, I don't know. I don't speak for him. But, like, to me, I watched someone that probably shouldn't have been working and just spending time with their family and hanging out and everything. Because, like, it was a very, it was just very, like, it was very sad. He's an amazing actor. And I'm sure there's, you know, controversy of, like, of what he said over the years of this and that, who he kind of is, but he was a sweet person. From my perspective, he was really sweet. And, like, he did think that I was his daughter in our conversation, but I didn't realize that until later in the conversation when he said something, and I was like, he addressed me, and it was not my name, and it was his daughter's name. And I was like,
Kaleina or anything like
it
that?
was, yeah, right. I said, and I just, like, it was a while too, because he's like, get her a chair, and someone brought me a chair, and I was sitting talking to Bruce Willis for a while.
That's dope. That's crazy.
It was so cool.
But
I was
experience.
like, this is, I really thought I was gonna get fired. I really thought that I was like, I'm getting fired. Absolutely.
Why would you
Like,
think
they're
that?
not. Because I thought I was because, like, I'm these people are trying to film something, and I've now, like, I have their lead actor just sitting in a chair, we're talking about Hawaii. I'm like, I'm gonna get fired. They're gonna be like, oh, all right, great. Just said, you're done. like I totally thought it was my first day. I was, like, just so happy to be there. And I was like, I'm disrupting this entire set. Like they have to put everything on pause now because I'm talking to him. But ultimately, like, realized that it was kind of, it was more common that he would kind of, like, go here and there and in and out of stuff at the time. And just very, like, it was very, no one, I mean, I'm assuming maybe people on the set knew what it was, but I didn't know what was going on. And I think a lot of people didn't know what was going on. And he was awesome. He killed it. He still did it. Like, he's still
professional.
You know, still did it. He was there, but, like, he wasn't there, you know, and that's sad. But I also had an amazing experience with Bruce Willis. I was literally sitting there and talking to him for quite a while, and we had it was interesting learning about him too. Like, he's had this guy who he has an earpiece, and he would speak into I don't know if I'm saying too much, honestly, if this is not cool to say, but he would have someone deliver his lines to him for a while during this period, and for years that would happen. So it was very interesting. Our conversation, I will never forget this conversation. It went in a lot of different directions that I didn't understand. Like, again, I was just like, Bruce Willis is talking to you. Just nod your head and be like,
Isn't it funny that, like, you find yourself in those, like, situations? Out here. I was bartending at Soho House one time.
Okay.
And Kanye West was living there because Kim kicked him out. And, like,
oh my God.
You'd be, like, at my bar in the morning just eating breakfast, not alcohol, just like breakfast, like, a few times a week. Yeah. And I'm just like, Kanye, yes. West is, like, right across.
Right across.
Right here.
He's right there.
And then it was so funny because, like, I was working there while him and Drake had that concert in L.A. Okay. And it was the day of, and I saw him of it. And I was like, what's going on right now? Like, what's life? Like, I listened to this dude, like, growing up.
And you're like,
working out all the time. Or, like, Bruce Willis. I watched all his movies growing up. Yeah. It's just weird. It's like you think them as a fictional character like Ivy, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
But then you meet, I guess, your hero in person, or you meet the person that you looked up to as their character. And you're like, at least for me, I was just like, you're human. Mm-hmm. Like, these are just a human being. Yeah.
And it's I don't know if that's, like, underwhelming or not. It might very well be to a lot of people too, that it's like you kind of idolize it's whoever you idolize, whether it's movie, music, like, whatever it is. There's people that we just put on a pedestal in our lives, and we're like, these are the people I strive to be, or they're my inspiration, or, oh my God, I'll watch anything they do. And then if you actually met them in real life, not to say that you'd be disappointed you might be disappointed that they're so normal, like that they're not
But
this
they're
like
just human.
idea.
They're just-
But yeah, they're very human, hopefully genuine, hopefully like a good person. Not
Yeah.
always the case, but yeah, it's not what you see, but that's kind of the fun of it. I think
Yeah.
too, is like you can be all of these interesting different things that you aren't actually,
Yeah.
you know, and you might be very
Professional pretend, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what is that to call it a job? That's so beautiful
Yeah.
that you could say that would be work or anything. So I think like, yeah, I would love to be just an actor. And I mean, I would always love to do art. That's not to say I would just love to be an actor,
Yeah.
but that would be an amazing job to just say that that's all I do.
Yeah.
You
Like
know?
Sylvester Stallone, he still paints all the time. And he sells his
Yeah.
paintings for like so much money.
I'm sure if I was a super successful actor, I would be selling my paintings for a lot more, if I wanted to. But I think it's cool. Like, I think I see really interesting like artists. Like Boo Boo Stewart is an interesting
I don't
one
know who
to.
that is.
So Kevy brought him up to me actually, and like I've been familiar with his work and like people that just know him internally and everything, and
The art world guys.
yeah, but he's an actor.
Oh, okay.
So he's an actor, and he's an actor. He was in like he was in Twilight, the second Twilight.
Okay.
He was in part of the Wolves Pack and everything.
let's
So
go.
like that's like a big thing that people
That's a
like
big
know
thing.
it from. I feel like, but
Ton of shirtless dudes turning into big wolves, 100%.
yeah. But a friend of mine worked with him, and like he's just kind of been circulated in this group that I know, and I would always kind of watch his stuff, and then all of a sudden I saw him posting more artwork, and it's just so interesting that he's this actor that I'm like aware of,
Yeah.
and other people kind of know from little things. Which would be inspiring from where I was at and everything. And then he started posting art, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. And now he is a very successful artist. And he also still acts, but he is showing his work to different galleries. He's doing his own solo shows.
so cool.
Like, and he's developed a really cool like style and everything. Like, I'm very much like, I feel like that would be the direction I would be going in right now, of like, it's not just one thing for me, and I don't think it'll ever be one thing for me. But I loved this, that I was like,
Back to the bear on the unicycle.
Bear on the unicycle, yeah. That's cool. I like that. Watch me see. I'll have that as a tattoo next.
Do you have tattoos?
I do have tattoos.
I always
I'm getting more.
I always want tattoos, but then I like.
You don't have any tattoos?
No, I'm a unicorn.
Oh my God.
Most of my friends have tattoos. Yeah.
I mean,
I've been wanting
yes.
one since I was like 18.
what would you get?
I just wanted a dope ass quote on my ribs.
Okay. What would the quote be?
I had so many, and then I'm just like,
What would it be now if someone came in and they're like, we have to tattoo you right now? What would it be?
The time will pass.
Interesting. On your ribs?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
I've been thinking about it lately. My buddy said that, and it was just because, like, some person wrote on his comments, like, why are you doing that? It's such a waste of time.
Yeah.
And he responded, the time will pass anyway. And I was just like, It's like, whatever you choose to do with your time, if it's fulfilling to you, it doesn't matter. The time will pass anyway.
Yeah.
You know? So I just
true.
thought it was, like, super deep. And,
I like that.
like, it doesn't matter what you do with your life, because at the end of the day, regardless of what you believe, like, if you're 5 generations out, I don't even know my great-grandfather's name.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, no one will remember you, but everyone wants to be remembered.
Yeah.
You know?
It's true. It kind of goes into my first tattoo as well. It's similar to that, actually. It's from a movie I love, but my first tattoo is It's All Happening. And it was just very, like, in the movie, it was meant in a sense of, like, it's all happening, like, all the time.
Yeah.
It's happening, and it's good and it's bad and it's all of those things, but it is all happening. And ultimately, like, there's something very beautiful about that, and being like present in like, hey,
Life.
This is what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And it's all happening.
That's
you know?
why I like running the
liked
mountains
it.
a lot, and I look over LA.
Yeah.
Because, like, even if you drive from day to day, you look at people's like the cars that are going around, and you're
Yeah.
like, everyone's having their own problems. And you look at it from a big perspective, right?
Absolutely.
Outside in the mountains, looking all over LA, you're like, everyone's dealing with bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, this shit doesn't matter. Or then if you even like expand it out long enough, if you expand out that horizon far enough, like the world, like is
Yeah.
a speck in the
Easily.
universe.
Absolutely.
And you're just like, why are you fucking crying right now, dude?
You're sitting in your car crying like on
bro.
the freeway. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's everyone is always going through their own thing, and it's like I was thinking about this today. I was like jamming out to a song, and I was like,
What song?
Paramore.
Let's
I
go.
keep talking about
I love
Paramore,
Paramore. Which
so
song?
much. All I Wanted.
Okay.
Because I was seeing, honestly, I was trying to see if I could hit the note that she was hitting in that, because that would be
Can we hear
like
it? Let's go.
a goal. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't
Kaleina's
even
not gifting us
karaoke
with her
my
vocals.
yeah this other talent I have. Oh God, no, I don't.
I bet it's pretty good. I feel like you're underestimating it right now. She's like, we're gonna ignore that.
It's funny. I have such a fear of singing. That is one of my fears, is actually singing, even at karaoke. I can't sing karaoke. My friends know this.
Why do you think it's
too.
a fear?
Oh, I know. Oh,
I said, why do you think it is a fear?
Oh, I could tell you. I know
Tell me.
exactly
Tell me
why
right
it's
now.
a fear and what happened to cause it to be a fear.
Please tell.
I did a talent show.
Okay.
I did a talent show when I was in 9th grade.
Oh, freshman year. Let's go.
Oh my God.
That's like a developing age. If anything bad happens to you, it affects you. If anything good happens to you, it affects you, like dramatically.
Dude, I auditioned for this stupid talent show twice because I was like, the first time they were like, yeah, you done got the talent. And then I was like, no, let me do another song and you'll see I can do it. It was so stupid. And this is the thing, get this. I remember being with my mom. We were actually at Disney in Orlando.
Yeah.
And I remember like being with my mom, and I got a call from like the theater department at my high school. And they were like, "Hey, Kaleina, we actually wanted to let you know that you've made it into the talent show, and we want to." No.
Oh.
I was on the wait
Oh
list
shit.
of the talent show.
Fuck.
I moved from the wait list to being I didn't even know there was like a wait list to the talent show. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a thing everywhere, but we had a wait list. I was on the wait list of
There was
that.
just so many
I did not get be like, yeah, we need to have her in this. I was more the like,
Yeah.
I guess like everyone else kind of
It's like you're
out.
the backup to the main actor.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
100%. I was back up to like 3 main actors, and then they were like, let's have her come in.
Yeah.
No. So I did a talent show, and I got oh my God, amazing confidence that I had also at this time, because
We love amazing confidence.
I remember being to my mom being like, I got the talent. I'm in the talent show.
Oh, no.
Oh my God. I have to think of an outfit. I have to think of the song. I have to think of everything. I'm putting on a performance.
Yeah.
Mom, I'm putting on a performance. And I did.
Let's go.
I sang My Immortal by Evanescence.
I don't even know what that is.
Well,
Can we give it? Can we
I
hear it?
will. Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Is there video footage out there? There might
I'd
be.
like to think that. So I think my dad is the only one that has the footage, because, okay, I'll get to this. I put on, so My Immortal is also a very moody song.
Okay.
It's so moody.
Okay, let's go Moody.
And it's just piano, by
Okay.
the way. It's not like this like fun
So you're
song. It's like depressing.
So you're singing
It's
with just
really
piano?
moody. No, I'm not playing the piano. I put it like on a CD, and I'm performing at the talent show. There's no one. It's just me. I put on this like really like interesting, what I thought was really cool outfit. And my friend Michelle, I remember she was in the front row being supportive. And of course, like, I had a few friends there that were like, yeah. But I remember Michelle was in the front row, and she was like up out of her seat. And I was like, okay. And I was singing this song, and I was like, I'm going to really be like a superstar right now.
Yeah.
And I'm going to act like this is my concert. And that
100%.
is exactly
What you did.
how I
love that.
started like dancing around on stage. She came up, she was like out of her seat, and she's like, yeah, Kaleina, I love you. I slapped her hand. I gave her a high five in the front row, like as if she'd be some kind of fan that was like, oh my God. Like, yeah, I gave her a high five. I was running around the stage, getting all like dramatic and moody and being like, I'm an awesome singer, to find out that after the show, when I went up to like friends or just people I knew, they were like, you did that. That's so awesome. Like, that's so cool that you had the confidence and courage to do that. That's amazing. That's amazing. And I started to hear this like over and over again. I started to hear this, like, it was like a compliment, but it wasn't. Like, no one was being like, hey, you're a good fucking singer. Yeah. Like, you're really good at singing, which is what I thought I'd hear. It's was like,
backhanded
wow,
compliment.
like, I didn't know you could sing. I thought that's what I was going to hear. I heard you did that. So cool. So cool. So proud of you to have done that. That's awesome. And I was like, huh, everyone's saying the same thing to me. And I get home, and my parents were at this, by the way.
Oh, no.
And I get home, and my dad's like, come here, I want to show you something. And I was like, what? He's like, just sit down and just, this is what happened tonight. And we listened to it, and I was tone deaf. I swear I sounded beyond awful. I was completely tone deaf. Oh my God. It was like, it was the cringiest, we want to say cringe. It was cringe to the max to watch this. And my dad's like, yeah, you're tone deaf. Yeah, that was, that was not good. Yes. My dad's a very honest person, so but I remember him saying that to me, and I was like, I'm never singing again in my life. So because I did it with so much confidence that I really thought that I was going to be that, like, because I thought it was a movie. Again, I thought that I was a character that everyone was going to say, like.
I feel like that delusional confidence gets you a lot of places, though.
It does, but I think I've lost it as an adult, maybe. Like, I think I see a lot of stuff of being like, oh, I'm delusional. I'm like, I'm delusional. And I think delusional is a funny word to also, like, it's
describe yourself
going around a lot, that I don't actually think I want to be delusional. Like, I do like being deliberate. I do like being other things that would like contradict that a bit. So I don't feel like I like being delusional, but I like always, like, I still feel like it maintains like an open mind, an imagination, creativity, getting excited about things. Like, it still falls into it, you know?
Like, I know you have this, but I don't know if there are a lot of people that have this. I do. It's the urge to just like create things, like make things. Like, where do you think that comes from?
I feel like that's being out here. That's probably why you're out here. That's probably why a lot of people come out here, because you have the urges to do things that you couldn't do in another place. Or things that wouldn't be like fulfilled, or things that wouldn't be like, you couldn't find a team or help or friends or like-minded people. So you come out here to kind of be like, I have an idea, or I have something I'm excited about, or something like I want to make. You have people around you that you could meet that would be like, I also want to make that. That sounds great. Let's team up. And you kind of just high-five each other and develop something interesting.
And make it happen.
Yeah. And that more like pertains to like acting and filmmaking and stuff like that. But art's more like, I still collaborate. Like even today I was with my friend that he's an amazing artist, and we're probably going to work on something together at a point. And that's cool, but I also don't know how I function in like a team.
Because it's usually just like your overalls and a glass of wine, right?
Yeah. Honestly, it's like you're there. It's that's exactly what it is. It's like he's relating right now. It's exactly what it is. I love overalls. I love clothing. Like, I love different kinds of clothing. My style changes all the time.
Yeah, what do you describe your style?
now, I mean, I love like, I always feel like I love this like 70s edgy kind of thing.
I was about to say, you got a vintage vibe to you.
Yeah. I like that to an extent. I've
Like
been
you got your CD player still.
Yeah.
Tell me, do you got that like little CD case where you zip it open and then you got...
I do. Yes, I do. You know what's funny? It's a PlayStation case. The case that I have stuff in.
I love that.
Is it was my brother's actually.
Oh, gee.
And it's a PlayStation. Like it was for just his
PlayStation
games.
CD video games.
So
guys.
that's where I have my CDs are in that. It has like the what is it, like red, yellow, blue.
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about.
That is where I house my CDs.
I feel like you gotta hold on to them. I feel like for some reason, like video games and Pokemon cards and shit like that, like old school video games, like are becoming popular again, and everyone's obsessed with them.
Look, right now, like in my CD player, what I'm listening to, I have the Eagles playing.
Mm-hmm.
That's I have their like Hotel California, and that whole album is what's playing on the CD right now. But I do have like contemporary stuff. Like I do have like, I have Halsey's CD.
Oh, let's go, Halsey.
I have 1975, which my friend...
1975, did they sing Sex and Candy? No. They sang...
Sex is a song.
Yeah.
Sex is a song.
It's good.
Girls is a song.
Girls is a song. Yeah. 1975 is dope, guys. Go check them out.
Look, 1975 is great. There's so much controversy around Matt Healy.
Yeah.
But I've always loved their music. I think it's poetic. I think it's great. Like my friend Maya and I have just had the best times at their concerts.
Yeah.
Best memories. So they're staying in my car in my CD
I feel
section.
like live music is like coming back now, especially after COVID. Like I feel like people are hungry to just being like, yo, Taylor Swift was selling out tickets for $2,000 a ticket for like nosebleeds, dude.
Wild.
Like what?
Like it's so crazy to me because it's like I get the thought of like being there in person, and I had so many friends, and like everyone went to that. Like it's not everyone went to her concert, and it's not to say like I would go, sure, that's fine, like I would go to see it. I'm not gonna pay that to see it, but like
I used to bump Love Story in high school 100%.
Love Story was it.
Hey, so I had like a subwoofer, right, and we played Love Story, and each beat would be like
oh my god, that's so
Story.
funny. That's amazing. You should play that. If you could please like add that onto this and like play it at the end or something.
Okay, let's play it.
That would be how we like pan out of this whole conversation.
Well,
but it's like, so with her thing, I don't know why, like to me, like going to the Forum or the Staples or like what's the one, the Kia Forum,
Crypto.
And then Crypto, but no, what's next to the Forum?
I don't know.
SoFi. That's the big one, and then
that's
it's
the one
the
she
Forum.
sold out.
Yeah. So all of those venues are like, you go to arenas and you go to these venues and you sit in the nosebleed, and to me I'm like, I've thought about it and I'm like, yeah, it's cool that I'm here, but unless I'm like
up
by
close,
the stage, or unless I'm just like in a place where I can dance and like what's the section that everyone's standing, like
I don't know,
general admission, like I don't know, whatever it is, like the standing room only. If I was in that position, fine, at a concert, that's what I feel like a concert is. So if you go to like theaters around here, like there's the Wiltern, there's El Rey, there's the Troubadour, there's certain venues that like,
it's a different experience. Yeah,
because you're right by the stage. You can experience someone that's up and coming and continues to be successful.
Do you know who Noah Kahan is?
No,
Noah Kahan? No, he sang.
This sounds familiar.
He had the album Busy Head.
Okay.
And I don't know, one of my favorite artists now, but
Sounds familiar.
He was opening for James Bay 7 years ago. Okay. And now he's selling out stadiums, and he just sold out, I think, the Forum in LA, or like one arena in LA. And I went to James Bay in college, and this guy opened up, and I was second row just looking up. Okay. And I have never really experienced, besides that one time, like an artist so close and just pouring out his like complete heart, and then you look back and there are just like so many people.
Yeah.
And you're like, this dude's words and the tone he is depicting these words at is affecting all these people in a way that they're making them feel something.
Yeah.
And just to be up close and personal to that is just
wild.
There's no other.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe like that experience.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know anyone who stood like right under Taylor Swift, right? But then imagine looking back at that, at all those
the
hundreds
people
of
that are
thousands
there.
of people
Yeah.
that are there. People lining up like this is a human being, a regular human.
Yeah.
They're lining up at 3 a.m., sleeping outside to get into their seats and into the state. I was like, what?
Yeah.
This is so weird. Or like, it's with anybody. Like you look at Joe Rogan, right? And he has like millions of people just like having his voice in his head on every single drive. Or I don't know, the Ed Sheerans of the world or the John Mayers in that aspect of live music with guitar. You know? It's just like, it's art.
Yeah.
It's just art being portrayed in a way that is receptible to a lot of people.
Absolutely. And there's different levels to it. Like what I think is most fun though is being like close to them and being in a venue where you could like, cause like at the El Rey, I used to go there quite a bit, and there used to be a lot of interesting artists that would be there that like Suki Waterhouse was just there, and she's in like a show Daisy Jones, and she's dating Robert Pattinson. Like she's very successful also, like just as a singer. And I like her music, and she was performing at the El Rey, and I'm like, oh, cool. Like, I can get a ticket for, like, $40 to go be next to her. And to get there early if I feel like it. And be right there. And that's how it used to be.
Yeah.
That's how, like, concerts used to be. But now I'm like,
$800.
I'm not going to spend $800 to just be in a giant stadium that I'm like, I could hear you better at home. I could see you better at home. Like, I don't really know why I'm here and why I've spent that much. Like, if you had good seats, maybe it's different. Like, and things are like, but I'm like, for that, to me, not so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've done like, I've done 2 like cool music videos that, my friend.
Is it Bruno?
Bruno, yes.
Okay.
Bruno Major. I did his music video.
It was dope. You looked good in it.
This year. It was really cool. My friend Cassie is like, Cassie and Amber, shout out to them because they're amazing. Amber's a beautiful cinematographer, and Cassie's a great director, and she's also an actor too. But it was a really cool, like, I love that Cassie reached out to me and was like, hey, are you down to do this? And I'm like, absolutely. Anything
100%.
Anything that she does, I want to be a part of. Yeah. And I did that music. Prior to that, she had also directed this music video called Sage Motel.
Oh yeah. Saw it.
Yeah.
The drinking one.
Yeah.
Yo, you played it good.
Thank you.
It was solid.
It's a fun like little twist at the end.
Little twist.
You know. But she directed that, and like I've known her for a bit, and that was a really cool music video too, because like actually we had gone to the concert of like the Monophonics, which is the band that performed Sage Motel, was their album.
Okay.
And the music video that we did, a few of us had gone to the show, the concert, and they had a concert downtown in LA.
Did they play the video?
No, they didn't play the video, but what was funny is like, so we went, all right, I'll just fuck it, whatever. We had gone to this music video, like, we had gone to the venue to watch the show and everything, because we were like, oh, we had been in this music video, and Lori, who was also someone in this music, there was like 3 of us.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, actors that were in it.
You guys aren't getting the inside joke right now. Kaleina's trying to push through.
Sorry, I'm so trying to do this. Anyway.
Do you want to finish or do you want to move on? I feel like you're uncomfortable right now.
Maybe maybe we should just fucking do. But anyway, it was a fun concert and it was cool because people were like, aren't you guys the ones from the music video? Because they were like,
That's
you
sick.
were in an environment. It was like cool because we were like by the stage, kind of like it was pretty packed in there. Like they're an amazing band,
So cool.
Oh God, so stop me. It was just really cool being in there, and they had Lori, who was the girl that played like the maid in the music video.
Yeah.
She was actually there.
So sick.
They designed a set, so when people came in to see the concert, she was there dressed in like the same outfit that she wore in the music video. And we had gone in and we were like, no one told us that like the whole set is like the music video. And I was like, why didn't we know? And she's like, hey guys. She's like, I don't know. She's like, I'm just here being like the maid, like brushing everyone when they come in, kind of. And we were just like, this is so cool. And we were like little kids in like a candy store, kind of, because they really like, these designers created a set when you walked into the concert. It was so cool. And then the concert was just funny because like we were just there having a great time, and we're like, this is so fun. And we became such fans of their music from being in the video, which is like usually what happens. Like I hadn't heard the artist prior to doing the video, and then I become fans of them after, which like kind of sucks a little bit.
A little bit.
Because I'm like,
But at least you found them.
Yeah.
And now you know.
They're amazing, and it was fun because like sometimes people would come over and be like, aren't you're the girl in the video? And
how'd that feel?
it was really honestly, it was really fun because it was my first like moment of being like, because like I've done work and I've experienced like acting stuff here and there, but it's not anything that people are gonna be like, hey, are you the one from this? Like no one's gonna say that to me at this moment in my life.
I had my first interaction like that probably like 2 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
A friend of mine lives in Japan.
Okay.
He's a naval dentist, right?
Okay.
And someone came in to visit the island, and my buddy was like, hey, I'm Brandon. And the other guy was like, hey, I'm so-and-so.
Okay.
He was like, I think I know you. He was like, really? I've been living here over. He was like, were you on a podcast? And so this guy in Japan was like, listened to my podcast about naval dentistry.
That's so cool.
And he recognized my buddy from the podcast in Japan, in Okinawa.
That's wild.
And I was like, that's wild.
That's so cool, but it's beautiful. It's so fulfilling. It makes you feel like, oh my God, this reached someone like
in Japan.
Yeah, that's insane.
Wild. It's travel
It's
world.
so cool, but that's like that's where we live now. Like that's kind of like the environment we live in this generation.
It's like
you can reach people like that,
and everyone can find out about it depending on what you're talking about.
It's very possible.
Before we conclude,
fun. Yes. God.
What does writing do for you, and why should people write?
Writing to me is another like idea capturing kind of thing.
Yeah.
I feel like I get ideas and I watch people a lot, and so from like the perspective of just being out and about and hearing conversations and listening and really like listening to a person and feeling like, oh, this is so fascinating to think about. And I'll think of ideas and I'll just take stuff from like instances in my life and I'll be like, this is something I should write about probably. And I don't know, once I feel like this is probably something I should get down on paper, then that'll create something bigger. I'm not by any means, writing is very, very hard because it's one thing to have an idea and to have like, oh, I can imagine this and this happening. That's great. Sitting down and making yourself strategize it and organize everything and put it in like final draft and be like, I'm going to start working on this scene and then this person's going to say this. It's chaotic. It's a mess until you can figure out how to organize it. And I find that it's very difficult to organize it in a way that helps you continue making it.
Yeah. Why should people make it then?
Oh, you should always make it. It's just a matter of finding out how you can organize it to your ability. It's not about any book. I've read so many books, which a great book, honestly, though, is Save the Cat.
I've never read that. What is that about?
I also just said it wrong. It's Saved by the Cat.
Okay.
Maybe it's
Go
not.
check it out, guys.
It's either Save the Cat or Saved by the Cat, guys.
Should we conclude it there?
One of those.
I think that will keep people interesting.
But anyway, read that book. Writing's you should absolutely write, even if you think it's silly. It's unnecessary to think anything silly, because look at everything floating around in the world. Like, it's all silly. It's all stuff that you're sense. Like, who came up with this? And you could be the person that comes up with it. It's just a matter of like actually getting it down and being like, I kind of am figuring out how to structure this and present it to someone.
And get enough people to back it.
Yeah.
And support it and like it.
Absolutely.
And enjoy it.
But first is getting it down. I don't think it's as hard to get someone to back it, because at least like you know that you finished something and you did something that you're like, I'm proud of this, that I'm about to send this to people. Someone will feel that.
Start and complete it. And then decide who should promote it or something like that.
Exactly. Because like the opposite's easy to do. I do that all the time, where I'm like, oh, I have an idea. Let's see, does someone want to like invest in this idea?
Versus,
does someone want to
like,
do
you
this?
having it done.
Versus, let me flesh this out.
Yeah.
Let me finish this.
I like that, flesh this out.
And then go. Which is actually the way to do it. And the advice I've been given. So
we love that.
Yeah.
Where can everyone find you, my friend?
Everyone can find me down the street.
Hopefully no one knows where I live.
No one knows where any of this is. Please don't look. I'm on Instagram, I'm just pretty much on Instagram at my name, Kaleina Cordova.
Cool.
And then I have my website,
which is
KaleinaCordova.com.
And they can get prints there and everything.
Everyone can get prints there. I love.
Oh, why do you like Mac Miller, by the way? We'll finish with that.
Mac Miller?
Yeah.
It's funny, my friend Zach.
The behind the backstory to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kaleina made a really, really, really dope painting of Mac Miller, and I'm fascinated by it. I'm going to figure out where to put a print of it. I just don't know where yet.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love, my friend Zach commissioned me to do a painting back in 2020 of Mac Miller. He loved Mac Miller, and I actually didn't, until he had mentioned it. I was like, Mac Miller. I was like, interesting, that's who you want. It wasn't because, like, I'm gonna be fully honest, it wasn't because I was a fan of him.
You're brutally honest. I love it.
I am. I'm not gonna bullshit. Like, I didn't know at first when he brought it up to me. I knew who he was, but I wasn't like, I hadn't really listened too much to his music, but I did. When I started painting him, I loved him. Did
you play Mac Miller while you painted it?
Yes. Yes.
If you guys have a chance, go check out her website. It's a really cool painting.
Thank you. It's my favorite painting too, because I also feel like, I think you can tell that I came to like absolutely love Mac Miller and that, and really appreciate him, and be like, wow, like I didn't know who it was when he first brought the idea up to me. And then I was like, oh, I have to do a Mac Miller painting. Yeah. And I played his music constantly, and I painted him, and I thought like, and I know everything that like had gone on in his life, and I did a lot of research on him, and I was like, wow. And then I became a huge fan of him because of the painting.
Have you watched his Tiny Desk?
Have I watched what?
His Tiny Desk?
No. What do you mean?
His Tiny Desk, his Tiny Desk performance on Tiny Desk.
No.
We'll watch it after this.
What is that? That's fascinating. No, absolutely.
Are you serious?
No.
All right, we're going to watch it
Is it a
right
podcast, like an interview kind of thing?
No, so Tiny Desk is like this desk.
What's Tiny Desk?
Where like famous artists play in front of like a small group behind a tiny desk. That's the concept. And it's one of the biggest like performance that he's done. It's so cool. I
didn't realize. No, I haven't seen this performance. We're going to play it. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to do this again. This was fun. Thanks for coming.
It's very fun.
I appreciate you so much.
I hope we got something.
We've done over 3 hours.
God, that's wild. I feel like I've just been talking for hours. It's crazy. It's
Go
my
check out
dream,
Kaleina's
technically.
work, y'all. I'm a big fan, and I know a lot of people out there are big fans as well. I'm excited to see where you go, and yeah.
That's so sweet. Thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you
y'all.
for having me.
Bye.
Bye.